Yes, evening Spurs fans. Let me take this away, but welcome back to another Premier League season. Spurs are back 1 week away, taking on Brentford, of course, this upcoming weekend. Still, maybe lots of questions about transfers and whatnot, but this is where you get to put your heart on the line, get to put your mind to the test of what you think will happen this season. Everything from where Spurs will finish to general questions about the season, the game ahead this weekend. Lots to get through here tonight. Hopefully, we have a busy show. Hopefully, we have lots of wild takes on things. Even Dave has a good question on. In case you guys are aware, we're going to maybe be asking you if you have any secret predictions of any kind, something that might blow us out of our chair here, something that might get us really caught off guard. So lots of questions to get through
Well, that
tonight.
was more
Lots of
Dermot
bold
specific,
predictions.
you know.
Oh, only for Dermot is allowed to answer that question. Everyone else is excluded from it. But good to have people in the house here. Already looking like a busy queue. So if you are planning on coming on, would love to have you. Would love to see you guys. If you miss it, maybe we can get your predictions after the Brentford game. Would be a little bit of cheating because then you already have a little bit of a look into what Spurs are going to be capable of. But looking forward to it. Season prediction time. Good to have these people in the house. I'll get the start off straight away with Stefan Blois renewing the membership. Thank you, Stefan. Good to have you, sir. And we'll be definitely getting to you pretty early. Looks like you're one of the earlier ones in the queue there. We also have Lenny Rogers. Hey, boys, would love to come on. I'm a new subscriber. Would love to have you, Lenny. I'll pin this membership. I think I might have, but if it's pinned at the top of the chat, feel free to come on. We already have a pretty busy queue, so would love to see new faces, people that would like to put their neck on the line, have some crazy predictions. Dibbity, good to see you. 4 days to start the Premier League, and we have not bought one attacker. I really can't watch Richie shit in the bed for us. God knows what Kudos tell has been good, but he can't do it with a proper team. He can't do it all on his own. Like, he's also still incredibly raw, still incredibly young. He's going to have bad games, you imagine, but you would say he has looked like maybe the big bright spot, maybe in the forward line, at least so far. Dermatron renewing the membership. Thank you, Mr. Dermo. Always been very kind and loyal to us. Shem and Tan saying, hey, Jack and Dave, hope you're both good. Why didn't we say to Juve 70 million plus Vicario for Kenan Yildiz instead, basically giving away Vicario for almost nothing? Hard to know. I think Yildiz is more of a creative type, Shem, and we might already be a little bit stacked in those areas with Simmons, Kulusevski, Madison. I think what we're truly going after are kind of some wingers and a striker. He can't play on the wing, to be fair to Yildiz, but he is more, I would say, of the number 10 type. I'd say he is better than Xavi Simmons, me personally, but
I do.
like I said, we're already kind of a little bit stacked in those areas, so we would have to basically sell some of our injured players, I think, in order to do that.
And I do think, like, with Vicario, there's not really any value in him. He's sort of having to go and rebuild his career to a certain extent. So, you know, that's sort of where we're at with Vicario.
Probably. Tyler saying season predictions are always a great call. So love to have you come in, Tyler. Maybe you might have some bold ones. K32, always good to see you. We have 2/3 of a very good team, and then the forward line is going to let us down. What's the point of going in for big players if we still are shit up front? It's become annoying.
Yeah.
Pretty much been saying all summer.
Look, you read any articles of people sort of gauging where Tottenham are at coming out pre-season, they're all saying the same thing about the front line. You know, it needs investment, it needs revamping, you know, but and if that doesn't happen, then we really are relying on Kulusevski and Madison to get back quick, fast, and really hit the ground running. And even you don't want to be in that position, because after being out for so long, it's going to take them a while to get back up to speed, match sharpness, and all the other sort of things. So we need the investment. There's no other way around it.
Yeah. Paul, good to see you. Chop Cheese, everybody listen to him. Everyone hit the like and the subscribe. J-Mac, big up to Davey, Ladd, and Jacka. Thank you, J-Mac. William Webb saying big up, guys. Richie Sale knocked back. Savinho has never put a transfer request in, so piss him off. 5 days to the countdown. I don't know if I think Savinho has almost made it very clear that he wants to leave Man City, William Webb. I think he's liking even Williams Barnett's posts and things like that. It's almost becoming a little bit flirtatious, if you will, from Savinho. I think he's done, would you call it the modern transfer request, Dave, if you will?
Well, I think he's trying to avoid putting in a transfer request, because I feel like once a player does that, it sort of travels with them for the rest of their career, and sometimes can go against them with future moves and stuff like that. So I think he's trying to do everything possible to get out of there and get his move to Tottenham without actually officially handing one in.
Yeah, I'll call it the modern version of the transfer request, William Webb. Q7, good to have you in the house. Really appreciate your support. Kerry King, good to have you, Kerry King. Not long now, only a week away, Kerry. Get ready. Strap in. Really appreciate your support for us. Playful Spurs, Paul Connor, evening lads. Hope you're both okay. We'll try to get on tonight if I can. I imagine it's going to be a busier show tonight, Paul, so hopefully we will have time for you. If anything, happy to stretch out a few minutes or two if you're able to make it. But rush on over, Paul. Would love to get your predictions, sir. Mary W, always good to see you. Very loyal and kind to us. Love the backdrop, Dave, she says. Loves your
appreciate that.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Good taste,
it's not
Mary.
real. I wish it was.
Tala, big up to you a lot. Thank you, Tal. 43 months. Crazy.
Wow. It's insane.
It's important from behind the scenes. Thank you, Tala. Really, really appreciate you, sir. Feel free to answer any of the questions anybody that's in the chat, by the way, that we are asking the people tonight to get your answers into the chat. Be happy to compare them to the people that we're, of course, talking with. Lesser known's in here. Neil Shafton's in here, and as well as Patty Higgins. Good to see you guys. Patty Higgins is saying predictions, Premier League champions, FA Cup champions, League Cup champions. Kane joins next summer for our Champions League assault. Ooh, keep him on the burner, maybe at Bayern Munich. Have him have one more go at a Champions League run with them, and then we'll take him back like that from Patty Higgins. The quadruple's on. Neil Shafton saying, guess all these issues will be exposed come September 2nd. But until, I think a lot of people are hoping that by the time the transfer deadline comes, that we pretty much have gotten all these signings through the door. It's just people like myself. I think you need them sooner rather than later, especially for forward players, to maybe have that confidence that they can hit the ground running and also maybe understand De Zerbi's system. And then Harmless Potato, thank you for renewing the membership, my friend. Very, very kind to have you with us. And then Tala saying here, honestly, if we have injury issues this year with no Europe, the medical team seriously has to be scrutinized. Very good point, actually, right? That it's only one game a week this season. If we continue to still find just injuries and training and whatnot, and De Zerbi seems to really be putting a lot of guys on ice by the looks of things with Van de Ven. We don't even know what Solanke's thing is. Madison just finally was given some minutes. So if we still end up seeing injuries, absolutely, once again, fingers probably pointed towards the medical team.
Well, it's actually one of the sort of talking points I have sort of for one of tomorrow's talking points for tomorrow's show is actually a report that came out, about Dan Lewington and the investigation he's done into the medical department. And what they're doing differently this year is they're breaking it down into positions, and they're giving each position sort of, from what I work out, a physio. And then they'll, rather than it sort of be a team approach, it's going to be individualized approach moving forward. A bit like what they do in the NFL and stuff, where you got your running backs doing different training to other people and on individualized programs and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out. I know it's something they were doing at City. He came from the City group, and it's something he's trying to bring across to Tottenham. And that does come at a bigger cost for Tottenham, because you then have to bring in more physios, more specialists and stuff like that. So hopefully it works out.
Yeah. And then Mark P, renewing the membership. Thank you so much, Mark. Good to have you with us. Sully1882, good to see you. And then Tom, always good to have you, my friend. Let's get this show underway here. We're going to start off first with Dermotron here. Ask him plenty of questions. I think, as we're bringing him in here, since Dermo, talk probably just briefly about maybe this game upcoming this weekend. What are your thoughts maybe just on what you've seen so far this preseason, and any vibes and any feelings you already have going into the Brentford game, Mr. Dermotron? How are you feeling? Are you confident going into Brentford?
I am confident going into Brentford. I think I've seen a lot over pre-season. It's totally different to where we were last pre-season. Firstly, we have a manager that is competent and doing his job correctly, and there's no coming out of his mouth like, oh, we are going to lose games. That puts you on the downer straight away. I think our transfer business has been pretty good. And just very quickly on that, we will get our targets in. Savinho will happen. And Savinho has put in the transfer request. He put it in about 4 weeks ago to Man City. So that will happen. The only thing I ever worry about is the striker. But apart from that, I'm fully confident that we can get a result at Brentford on Saturday and start off with 3 points. I think everyone seems to be happier. Everyone seems to be in a good feel factor. There's a good vibe around the squad. We've made our defence better. We've made our midfield better. And with Tonali and Fernandes, Tonali's going to run the show. He really will. He's going to sit there in front of the back, whatever, and run the show. Fernandes in the middle, and whoever they decide to put him in with, either an Archie Gray or if he plays right back or whatever. We have a squad that's capable of really mounting a good challenge for Champions League football next season. I'm fully confident in that.
Do you think we're going to need some of these forward signings to happen, Dermotron? How do you feel about the attack feeling a little bit light?
It is light. Do I want to start with Solanke and Richarlison? No. But I'd rather keep Richarlison more than I would Solanke. But it is what it is at the moment. transfers don't happen in an instant. It's not like playing FC27 or FC26 where you can make a transfer happen overnight. These things take time. So maybe the selling club doesn't want to sell the player, or maybe they've got a grudge against the club, against Tottenham, and okay, we're going to make this difficult for you. These deals will get done, and we will have new wingers. We will have a new striker, a number 9, whoever that will be.
On that, can I just ask maybe a follow-up question, maybe a pushback question is, last year we left our attacking signings very, very late in the window, and they didn't really have the time to bed in and settle in, and the consequences it was clear to see and evident on the football pitch then moving forward. Are we making the same mistake again this summer by leaving it so late to get these 4 players in? Because that's the difference between us scrapping out another 17th place, 16th place finish and us really pushing up the table.
No, we're not leaving it too late. And the difference is we've got a different type of manager in. We've got a different type of mentality within the squad. We have a different type of motivation within the squad. And I don't think we are. These transfers do take time. So none of the other top 6 are outspending us. They're leaving it late then. So every club is leaving it late. No club has done business as early as we did. And yes, we did get a business in early. Would I have liked the forwards in sooner than now? Yes, I would do. But it is what it is. And if you look around us, I think we're the better prepared club than a lot of the other top 6. Because they're still floundering around trying to get business done. And we've got most of our business done. So, look, I'm sitting here a lot more confident than I was, say, 12 months ago.
That's fair. That's fair.
Who's going to be the top goal scorer this season, Dermotron?
Look, if we get a Savinho, when we do get Savinho and Gakpo in, I would expect them to probably be there or thereabouts.
Really? Think Gakpo's going to be the leading goal scorer for Spurs?
I think Gakpo will be. I think, look, Richie will go to Everton for the end of the
window. You can't name a player we haven't signed yet, Dermo.
No, but he's more or less, he is coming, so I'm sticking my neck out there. So, Richie will go to Everton. I think that deal will get done. It's hard to know because we haven't done our business yet. So we know more on the 2nd of September. Maybe I can give you that answer then. I think the midfield's got a lot more goals in it than it did last season. I think with Fernandes and Tonali. I think also Gallagher as well. But I'll answer that question once the transfer window's done. Because then I'll be able to give you more of an exact answer. Then I can, instead of picking a player off the top of my head. If Richie's still there, then yeah, probably be Richie. But I can't say 100%. So, I'll give you that at the end of the window. I'm not trying to duck out the question. I just can't give you. I can't give you an honest answer, and it's not fair of me to just pick a name out of the air where I want to give the answer justice because it's a good question. So that's just how I see things at the moment.
All right. And what's a successful season for you, Dermotron? Where will we finish?
At the moment, I think we're finishing Europe, probably Europa League. If we sort our forward line out, then Champions League for definite. I just got this gut feeling we've got an FA Cup win and I missed this season. I just really want us to go and win that competition. I was 14 the last time we won that competition. And, why not go? I can see a cup double coming up. Why not go for them? We've only got one game a week in the league and go for the cup competition. So why not qualify for Europe and go for a cup double? And that's how I see it. And that's why I'm putting my neck on the line for.
Q7 saying Dermotron is confident. I can't say I agree with Gakpo coming. Fork found in the kitchen, Q7. Dermotron's always confident ahead of a season. That's why he's a good man to start off with. Sorry, Dave.
I'm confident during the start of the season, during the season, at the end of the season. It's just a little. Last season was a one-off, I think, for a lot of us. But I just think we're going to have a really good season this year. I think all the negativity we need to put to one side and all what happened last season. It's never going to happen again because the Zerbi won't let that happen again. And I think the club now are in a better place than they were. I think there was a lot of infighting within the board members, within the running of the club. We had managers in that weren't good enough. Thomas Frank wasn't good enough. Tudor was a bad choice. And I think if we got De Zerbi in earlier, I don't think we would have been in the place we were coming to the Everton game. So I think we're in a lot better place, a better pre-season. The players look fitter. The players look happier. And
I do understand the positivity heading into the new season, and I do think De Zerbi will get a lot better out of whatever he has at his disposal come the end of the summer transfer window than what Ange Postecoglou or Frank ever did. I do, and that's purely because I believe in De Zerbi and his ability to be able to manage the squad and his style of play and stuff. But I do think there's a lot we are overlooking. I think the fact that you've got the likes of Maddison, who's barely played all preseason, haven't seen Van de Ven, Adoji, Kudus, Kulusevski, Xavi Simons, Udebur. There's a lot of key players that we are missing, especially in the forward area, that haven't got the minutes into their legs. And I think, everyone's hoping for a fast start under De Zerbi, but our forward line hasn't really changed since last season, and it was a huge problem. And I just think it'll be exposed very quickly into the season if we do not get it sorted. Like Brentford, we're all expecting to go in and beat Brentford, and you're hoping because of the way we play, we'll end up creating more chances and hopefully take one or two of them. But Brentford are a good defensive organised team. We haven't come up really across that all preseason and stuff like that. So it's going to be a bit of a different ask. And that's where I just think initially it might be a bit rocky getting off. But then I think as you see players coming back and building up to their full fitness and stuff like that, I think you'll see a much better Tottenham then progressing as the season goes on.
Well, you won't see Xavi until the new year because of his ACL anyway. That's why he hasn't seen either for Mickey van der Ven not coming back because he's finished from the World Cup. And I think his pre-season sort of program's a bit out of kilter than the rest of the squad. As for James Maddison, I think you had to take him slowly coming back for what he went through last season as well. And I think it was good to see him getting minutes at the weekend. We do have players out injured that are long-term injured. So that's why we haven't seen like an Odebear or a Xavi or players like that. Maybe Kudus as well is coming back. I know he didn't play any pre-season, but these players are coming back from sort of long-term injuries. So I think you want to get it right. You don't want to bring them back too quickly and then them to break down again. And then you're going to miss them for more months. I think you've got to do it correctly. And that was the problem, I think, it has been under previous managers where Ange brought back Romero and Van de Ven too quickly for the Chelsea game. What happened? They broke down. You bring back Kudus. We brought them back too quickly last season. Broke down in certain games. So I think it's the right approach. Not everyone's going to like it. Not everyone's going to agree with it. I think it is. I think it's the right approach. And I do agree with De Zerbi the way he's doing it. And I just think the players have bought into this sort of mentality of there's a pride to wear the shirt. And I think he's right to say when he's saying to these players, if you don't want to be here, then don't be here. And that's been the problem over Tottenham over the years, that we've allowed players to stay around the squad that they're just there picking up a wage check. They don't want to be there. Mentally, they don't want to be there, but they're there to pick up a wage check, and we've allowed that. And I think De Zerbi's come in and said, right, okay, if you don't want to be here, then there's the door. Get me to the end of the season. If we stay up, then you can go. If you don't, you're staying where you are and you're helping us back up again. And I think a lot of them players who left are probably thinking, thank God we did stay up. But I think it's good. I think it's a clean broom coming through the club, that somebody's opened the doors and the windows and we've let a bit of fresh air in. And it's a different club. And look, do I think the owners have done well this summer? Yes. I think there's more to do. I think also, but they've got to back it up January and next summer. So look, it's a good start. So I look, everyone's got their own opinion how they're going to see the start of the season. Just because I'm confident that we can go and get a job done and we can start the season well, doesn't mean that what you're saying isn't true either. What you're saying can't not happen either, and what you're saying can't come to the fore. So that's the beauty of football, isn't it? We see the game in so many different ways, shapes, and form. And when it comes to Tottenham, we all want well for our club. We all want the best for our club. But I just think there's a different vibe within the club this year.
I agree with that. Yeah.
There's something that we're linking up with our history. We're linking up with the older players of the 80s and the 90s and the 70s. And Do you know? And I think we're not forgetting our past. We're refinding ourselves, and I think that's one thing with Spurs is, and I've always been a big talker for this, that we can't forget our history, and we're not forgetting it now. And I think the spirit of Bill Nick is starting to blow through that club again, and I think we will be successful under De Zerbi. It's just what kind of success we will see. It's in the fullness of time, but we will be successful one way or the other with him.
100%. Look, we're not in perfect shape or condition heading into the season by any means, but we're heading in the right trajectory and in the right direction, and that's what matters. But
last question, Dermot. Yeah. What's your crazy prediction, Dermot? And then we gotta let you go because Dave did make this sounds like exclusively for you.
Win the treble, do the treble, the league and the 2 cups. There's my crazy prediction. All
right. Well, thank you, Dermot.
I know somebody that me and Philip and you, Jack, know is stuck on tenner on Spurs winning the league this year.
That's
because of the Leicester crazy, because of that. 20-1 Spurs are to win the league.
Yeah, good return there. Good.
Because of the Leicester City thing. So, but no, look, it is what it is. I'm hoping for a great season. Do you know what? I can't wait. Ups and downs, whatever it is. It's what we live for, isn't it? It's what we live for every season. As content creators, as YouTube channel owners, is what we live for as the season. So, let mayhem begin.
Well, thank you, Dermot Tron. Thanks for coming on, sir. Please, everybody, subscribe over to THFC Till We Die. Catch some of this man's great takes and also his optimism in case you need it ahead of the season. And we'll see you next time, Tron. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you later on. Take care.
Have a good one.
Tron.
See you, man.
See you. Bye.
Big up to as always, please, everybody, subscribe there.
Love and life, positive as always. And, look, hopefully everyone feels like that Friday heading into Saturday, the new season upon us. But make sure you get across, check out his channel, smash that subscribe button, and also big up Harmless Potato, 2 jewels, Silver Star. Do we still understand what's going on with all these jewels, Jack?
No, not at all. But thank you, Harmless Potato. Appreciate you. Thanks for even trying to understand it better than us. Thank you, Harmless. Appreciate you, my friend. Let's keep this show moving. We got Chris here. Big up to Chris. He's up next. Mr. Chris, season prediction time, my friend. How are you feeling ahead of this Brentford game? Are you confident?
Confident, but worried.
Well, listen, what are we concerned about, Chris?
The forward line. With Charlton and Solanke. We need an upgrade quick. We've done well in the transfer market with the defence, the midfield. Now we need to get the cherry on top, which is the forward line, because I think we'll beat Brentford, but it's going to be a struggle with the goals.
Well, look, I think it's been the problem across the course of this preseason. Like at times, Matisse Tella's put a couple of good chances across for people, and we haven't really had anyone consistently enough to be able to get on the end of them and put them away. And look, that was a big problem last season under Frank heading into the season, and exposed us heading into the season. And I think it's something a lot of people are worried about heading into this season. But we do have a lot of players due to get back from injury. You're hoping relatively quick within the next month or that. Do you think that will alleviate our concerns if we don't sign anyone?
Not really, because they're still going to be rusty as hell coming back. Cooley hasn't played for over a year. Kudos hasn't played for about 4 or 5 months. Madison's just coming back. Odegaard's going to be out till probably January. You've got Xavi Simon's still out till maybe after Christmas as well. So up to then, but everything so far so good for me. I'm happy. I'm happy and content. We've got Tonali, we've got Fernandez in, we've got Van Heckeren, got Dubravka, a good backup goalkeeper. So I'm relatively happy, but it's just this forward line we just need to get an upgrade, because it's all very well relying on Kudos, but don't forget how long he hasn't played for.
Well, look, he's definitely one player I'm excited to get back, and I'm confused where we're going to see him, whether it's off the right or through the middle, because I know De Zerbi, when he last spoke on him, said he's sort of seen him through the middle.
Yeah, what's in the middle?
Let's talk about 2 current wide options that we do have, and of course, we're not naive enough to put all of the attacking burden on such young shoulders. But let's start with Mikey Moore, and then maybe a quick conversation around Matisse Tella. Mikey Moore has been slow getting going in pre-season, I'll be brutally honest, but scored 2 goals then against Hoffenheim and looked better. Do you reckon he starts against Brentford at the weekend off the back of that performance?
I don't think so. I think another loan's due for him, if I'm honest. Just like to a championship team or say, don't send him to Scotland or abroad. Send him to either championship team or a lower in the league premiership team, maybe, just to get him some first team football. Because I think that will do his confidence the most good.
Be interested to see what happens there. And I think people do forget he is only 18 years of age as well.
Yeah,
I think one of Batista's biggest problem last year, Chris, was, I think lack of sort of decision making in the decisive moments, often misplacing passes or not passing it at all and stuff like that. But I do think that sort of has improved over the course of preseason.
I've seen improvements with Tell. I'm not going to say 100% first team start if we get reinforcements in. Good option off the bench. But if he has to start against Brentford, I think he'll do well.
Do you think he's good enough now to sort of cement down that left spot this season and at least be a lot better and a lot more potent than what he was last year, based off what we've seen so far?
So far, so good. Let's not run before we can walk.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Jack, any questions you want to?
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic for him.
What qualifies as a successful season, Chris?
Top 4.
That high? You don't think
top 4?
Top 6?
Top 4. With the players we're bringing in, and the cost of the players that we're bringing in, we have to be challenged for top 4. Top 6 is just top 6. We have to be fighting for top 4.
We haven't even signed any forwards.
Yeah, can we get top 4 with the squad we currently have right now?
Not without the forwards. Top 6 realistically without the forwards.
Okay.
Do you even think if let's say we only signed Savinho and Gakpo, let's say those are the 2. Do you think that's enough to get top 6?
More than enough. More than enough, because you still got all the players coming back from injury as well. But just, Jack, as I said, I'm not going to run before I can jump on these ones, because let's see how we perform on Saturday. Let's see what type of performance we put in before we can say, oh, we're going to win the treble. We're going to do this. Let's just see when the football really matters on Saturday, how much they've learned over pre-season.
Okay. Chris is learning to run. He's learning to jump. Let's go into... Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Sorry, just quickly, you did sort of say you want to come on and make a defense of Cody Gakpo. You don't understand why people are trying.
Yeah, I don't understand the hate on him. Basically, yeah, we need reinforcements, and Gakpo actually would be probably an upgrade on at least one of those forwards, either Solanke or even Richarlison. To be honest with you, Richarlison's hot and cold. Solanke's injury prone, and even when he does play, he's hold up play. That's it. But I don't know, David. We'll see.
But Gakpo didn't really have a good season for Liverpool last year, though. Now, you can make the argument none of the attackers, no Liverpool player really had a good season last year.
That's exactly it. No, Liverpool really underachieved with Slot last year. That's why he got his ass canned.
Fair.
With the money Liverpool spent last year, they should have been challenging for top 4, top 2. And they just totally fell apart at the seams. So it doesn't matter how much you spend. If the players ain't gelled, that's what happens.
Tyler saying no chance we get top 4 unless De Zerbi might be the greatest manager of all time.
Tyler, have some optimism, man. Tyler, have some optimism. I know we were atrocious last season, but let's start on a fresh positive.
What's the best midfield going into this Brentford game, Chris? What's your ideal midfield right now?
It's difficult to say. If Maddison's fully fit, you go with Maddison, Tonali, and Fernandez.
Let's say he isn't.
You could probably, I don't know. It all depends. You got Bergvall who's vying for wants his place. Saar wants a place. Benton can do a job. Mm-hmm. There's still players there who are more than capable of doing a job. Whether they're still there at the end of the transfer window is a different story.
He likes Gallagher, Chris. Do you think he would start Gallagher this weekend?
Possibly, because Gallagher seems to have upped his game a little bit in the training and in the pre-season as well. I don't know. We'll see. It all depends what formation that Roberto De Zerbi sees with those players that he's got there. Because at the moment, without the forward players, he's looking for wingers. He might have to sacrifice that type of play just until he gets them in.
Any surprise players that you think will really stand out this season? Like a
Do you know
Mikey
what?
Moore, someone like that, Luca Williams Barnett, maybe
Look,
Eric Fall.
do
Maybe
you know
Eric Fall's not a
what?
bad shout.
I want to see Luca. I want to see more Luca Barnett. I want to see more of him. He's looking really good, but I think with him, he's another one where you can't put too much pressure on him. He's young. Don't want to pressure him too much too soon because you don't want him to burn out straight away. Maybe put him on a loan as well if need be.
I know Tyler loves you, Chris. He's saying, love you, Chris, but I can't with little to no attacking quality at the moment. All the quality we have is still injured or coming back.
Tyler, I love you as well, but you know, I'm going to just say as it is, I'm optimistic for now. I'm not putting spending in blood that we're going to fish for top 4. I'm hoping for top 4. Whether we get it or not, let's see on September the 2nd when the transfer window's shut. Then we'll discuss that further.
Who's going to be the top goal scorer, Chris?
The way it's going, it's going to probably be Richarlison, isn't it? Obviously, because he's going to get small starts, isn't he? Unless we sell him.
Would you sell him to Everton?
Not for the pittance that there was rumored that was offered.
Yeah. Would you start him this weekend over Slanky?
Slanky's not fit, so it will be Richarlison starting.
Do you rate one more than the other?
Sure. They're equal, mate. They're equals. You've got Richarlison on his day, he can smash in a hat trick. Then there's days where you just can't hit a barn door. Yeah. Then you've got Solanke. His hold-up play is great, but his finishing not so good.
I agree with that.
Fair. Well, what's your score prediction for this weekend?
2-1 Tottenham. 2-1.
I'll take that. And lastly, De Zerbi's a fiery sort of character. How long into the season do you think before we see him get sent off?
Any blow-ups from De Zerbi this year?
I'll give him 3 games. I'll give him 3 games for that. You know what it's like. But do you know what, Jack? When we signed Tonali, from Newcastle, the amount of shit I gave the Newcastle fans, it was so funny. I just had to do it.
I'm going to miss Jason Tyndall.
I just really had.
I'm going to miss Jason Tyndall from the Premier League, but I think you're talking about us taking over Tonali, right? Just going over to Newcastle. We'll have him. We'll take him.
Yeah. We'll just have him. Just
make any bolognese for your Newcastle friends? Just as a peace offering? Make a spaghetti bolognese?
Oh, they were too busy. No, not really, Jack. I just had to lend them some tea towels, Just give them a few tea towels just to dry their tears.
Before we let you go, Chris, what have you made of Tonali's pre-season so far?
Very good. The glimpses of what he can do. Especially the pass to Robertson for the first goal for Richarlison. That pass, perfection. Perfect weight, perfect distribution, and a goal. If he can do that in the league consistently, I don't think there's going to be many midfielders that can take him on.
Yeah. Right. He's certainly going to help us, get control of a lot of games and dictate a lot of games. It's just whether we have the force to capitalize on the possession and go and win the games.
David, that's why I'm not going crazy and saying we're going to win the league or something stupid like that, because with the forward line we've got there, top 6 is realistic. If we get 2 more decent strikers in top 4, is definitely a possibility. But to say we're going to win the treble and all that nonsense at the moment, way too optimistic. Yeah, FA Cup, yes, I'd like to see us to win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Yeah, I'd like to see us win both trophies. Realistically, we're not winning the league at the moment with the strikers we have.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's well aware of that. Well, let's see what happens this week. I think they have to be registered by Friday, 12 p.m. if we want them available for Brentford on the weekend. So let's see what happens this week. But Chris, good to have you back, my man.
Good to have you back, the GOAT.
Yeah. My pre-season's over as well now. My pre-season is over.
He's been learning to run. He's been learning to jump. He's doing his own pre-season training, Chris, this summer.
Yeah.
Good to have you, my friend.
And all I can say is, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Legend.
Good
Big up, Chris.
Back, Chris.
Hope to see you next week, my man. Good to have you back.
Definitely.
Sir. All right. We'll catch up with you after Brentford. See you, my man.
See you, lad.
Legend, that is Chris. How long has this guy been around? 80 months? Something like that? Absolute GOAT.
Yeah.
Big up to Chris. And also another grandfather, godfather, should I say, Philip Brady. Thank you, Philip. Very, very kind.
Shit,
Very generous, my
kind.
friend. If you have anything you want to say in the chat that you want us to put up on screen, Philip, happy to do so. He's even saying Troy Deeney. I think he's looking at someone's comment saying that Troy Deeney thought that we look worse or weaker after spending 200 million pounds. And that's a fair response, Philip Brady. We taking Troy Deeney seriously now?
Could probably do a Troy Deeney up front right now, to be brutally honest. We'd score more than a Slanky or a Charlison, but yeah, there's no way we're worse off after spending 237 million pounds. We're better off in the dugout in terms of manager, better off with the coaches, and better off in terms of backline and midfield.
I will say this. It does show that almost anyone can get into punditry if Troy Deeney has become a pundit and a regular one with that. And thank you, Liam Hennessy. Again, we're not really sure how this works or what it is, but thank you for the support, my friend. And anyone that's listening along, continue to smash the like button. Continue to make yourselves known in the comments. We like to put up your comments on screen, especially if you're interacting like Tyler has done or like Philip Brady has done with yourselves or with the person that's on that we're chatting with. And then if you are new to the channel, consider maybe becoming a member. We'll keep this moving, though. Let me just check who we have after this. Now we have Eugene. Ooh, this is going to be spicy.
Bring him in. Good evening, Eugene.
Hey, boys. It's been a while.
Good to have you, Eugene.
Be keeping. So, what do you make of Tottenham's pre-season so far, and what sort of shape do you think we're in heading into the season, Eugene?
I can argue either way. I can argue for us being in a decent shape, and then I can also argue for us not being in a decent shape. So it just depends on my mood. Overall, we obviously improved in the midfield. I mean, that's a no-brainer. The back line is better. It's better on the ball. Defensively, I still have my doubts about Porro. He's had a great World Cup, and now everybody says he's amazing. I still yet to see that Porro for us since maybe 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So his defending is a concern to me. Van Hecke is great on the ball, but again, defensively, he's not the best. So that right side is a worry for me a bit. And then the left side, Udogie is never fit. I think we need a new left back. And Robertson is Robertson, right? He's old. So, I mean, I'm not sure how much he's got left in the tank. But overall, I'm pretty optimistic right now about our midfield and our back line. I think De Zerbi can get him to play a cohesive system where he can hide their weaknesses and he can amplify their strengths. So that's what I'm hoping for.
You didn't mention the front line there at all, Eugene.
Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about it.
You want to talk about
the front line? So that's what's crazy. It's like the first thing we did when the transfer window started, we brought in 2 midfielders, which we all knew our midfield is weakness, but not as bad as the front line. And up until now, there's nothing. So that's going to be our issue. I mean, my opinion on Richarlison. I mean, when he's gone, I'll celebrate as much as I've celebrated Romero leaving. I mean, that's going to be a holiday in my household. Solanke is a big disappointment. I thought he can do the job for us, but he's been a major disappointment. So everybody knows we need 2 attackers. I'm not excited about the names we've been linked in. I didn't want Savio, especially for the price. I didn't want Gakpo for the price, and I just don't rate him as much. However, right now, I'll take anybody. I mean, anybody will be an improvement. And to Chris's point, sorry, Dave.
I was just going to say, I'm sort of with you on that. I wasn't enamored by the names, but as the transfer window's ticking down, I'm sort of like, just give me anybody at this point and let's take a gamble.
Yeah, and to Chris's point about Gakpo, look, like even like in the World Cup or just for Liverpool, he scores against weak opposition. And none of us watch Gakpo every single day. I mean, I admit it, right? So I defer to Liverpool fans, their opinion on Gakpo, and City's fans' opinion on Savio, because they watch him game in, game out, and they be happy if Gakpo leaves. Yeah. He's very inconsistent. I just look at his attributes. He's not pacey. He's not strong. He'll give you some goals, but for me, it's the fee, it's the contract, it's opportunity cost. The worst thing that we can do is give high wages to an average player who won't be able to shift in the future like we've seen before. I
Like
would
with
rather. Exactly. That's a perfect example. So I hate to be stuck with mediocrity, and to me, he might be it. Also, kind of as a philosophy for me is I don't want to go to teams who we're chasing and get their rejects. I'd rather go to teams below us and get their best players.
Yeah.
Like went to Newcastle, we got Tonali, West Ham, Fernandez, right? They're the best players who can actually improve into stars
Yeah.
versus going to teams that we're chasing and getting the players who are not good enough to start for those teams. For me, that's a step back. Will they
Yeah.
improve us short term? Sure. Again, anybody's better than who we have right now. However, if I look at it from kind of a 5-year plan, I'm concerned that we'll be stuck again with names on high wages who
Yeah.
won't be able to shift, and the opportunity cost for me is high.
Yeah. And we're only after sort of trying to, the last couple of years shift a massive backlog of exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Look, based on your sort of general assessment of the squad and coming out of preseason, and we spent 237 million to date. What do you think is achievable for us this season? What are your expectations then?
I mean, again, right? I can go like either way. Like if you look at United a couple years ago, right? They went from 15th to what, third?
Third, yeah.
Just bringing in 2 players. So with 1 game a week, we can do something. For me, we need another 10. I don't trust Madison. Again, you know my opinion on Madison. We need to move on for players who are not reliable. For me, they're kind of skills. Any player in the Prem, any good player on his day can be elite, right? Any player, almost any player. But for me, I need consistency. That's what matters. That's what we need. And players like Madison, like Udogi, we just cannot rely on them, especially to start. So for me, we need a 10. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get one. But if we don't bring any attackers with 1 game a week, I think we can finish 8th. Yeah, if you look at the teams who are chasing, a lot of the teams who finished ahead of us, like Brentford's and Villa's, they won't be able to cope with 2 games a week. So I think that's, for us, that's a positive. City, I think, is going to drop off massively without Pep, without Rodri. I don't think they're going to finish top 3. Liverpool is struggling, so the league is wide open, other than Arsenal, who's way above everybody else. So if we bring in 2 attackers, I can see top 4 for sure. It would be us and Chelsea for that 4th spot. Even if you look at United, if they don't do any business right now, if you look at their midfield, if you look at their back line, I think we're better. So 2 attackers, we can challenge for the top 4 spot. If we don't bring attackers, it'd be top 7, top 8.
I think with United, though, they went after that front line heavily, and that, I think,
exactly, that's the difference.
Finishing third, you know what I mean? To your point, so I do think we definitely do need to get some business done before the end of the window. And the thing is, like, let's be brutally honest. You look out wide, wingers, you could say, yeah, we can definitely go out and get upgrades. But that striker, no matter who you bring in, it's sort of a gamble. There's not really that much around the world that you look at and go, we bring him in, he's going to bag you 20, 25 goals this season. You are taking a gamble on whoever you bring in realistically.
And exactly, that's the problem, Dave. It's like, and that's why I'm concerned about Savio. If you look at his profile, right, with Kudus on one side, who's a tricky winger, he's a touchline winger, he's not really a scorer. And Savio is kind of in a similar mold, right? He's a touchline winger, he's not a goal scorer. So there is no way we're going to bring in a top striker. There's just not enough strikers out there. So if that's the case, we need goals from everywhere. We need, and if we have two wingers who don't score, Madison, who is unavailable 30% of the time, Gallagher is Gallagher. He just runs around. I just don't see enough goals for us, and it doesn't matter which striker we bring in, right? We can bring in a striker who gives us 18 goals, let's say 17 goals. We still need a lot of goals from our wingers and number 10. And with Kudus, Savio, and Gallagher, I just don't see it.
Well, where the real concern comes in is down the years we've just sold off everyone that scores goals. You know, Kane's son, then Brennan Johnson. Although I hated him, and I think it was right to sell him, we sold him on. You know, you look at who's missing this year. You know, you sell on
Paulinho we sold. Yeah, sorry.
Paulinho, and there's a couple of others as well. So, you know, the big question is where are the goals actually going to come from in this team? You know, it's a new team going out there, and you're looking for new individuals to step up and say, "I'm the guy," and that's where I'm concerned about going over the top or getting too excited, because that is my big question: who's going to be the guy to step up with the goals? Because last year they were spread around, but a lot of them players have since been moved on. So
Exactly. And if you look how De Zerbi is building his team, we're not building a backline like Arsenal's, for example. They're gonna shut teams out, right? Our backline is ball playing backline. It's an attacking backline.
Yeah.
So in order for them to work, you need to actually be able to score goals, because we'll be giving up some goals. However, if there's no end product, then we're going to be in trouble. Like we need to score 2 goals a game at least. And for me, it's tough to see it, unfortunately, if we don't bring anybody in.
Yeah. Jack,
What's
any questions?
What's your midfield going into the Brentford game? I know you're not the biggest Madison fan. I don't know how fit he really is, Eugene. So what's the best midfield 3 going to the Brentford game?
I mean,
for you?
I think it's going to be, you know, Tonali, Fernandes, and unfortunately Gallagher. I mean, Gallagher, I mean, to me, I think he's better in a 10 anyways. I don't think Gallagher can play an 8. He's just not a good enough passer. In a 10, he presses, he can score sometimes. So I think he's going to start in a 10. But if we want, but he's not good enough for me.
Would you consider Papamat Sark ahead of Gallagher in that number 10 role?
No, I think Gallagher is a bit better version of Sarr, and I'm surprised that Sarr is still around. I would expect for him to go.
Yeah.
Given our depth in the midfield, he's got to go for sure. Like even I would expect 2 midfielders to go, Sarr and one of Bergvall or Bentancur.
Can I ask why Bentancur isn't in your thinking for the deep line option?
He's not a bad player, like I said, like especially as a squad option, he's a good player. So unless we don't bring in a right back, and De Zerbi wants Archie Gray to play on the right, which for me is going to be a mistake. I really want to see Archie Gray play as a midfielder.
Yeah.
Then with 1 game a week, we have too many midfielders. We have Gray, we have Bergvall, we have Bentancur, we have Sarr. So 2 of them have to go. I defended Bergvall for a long time. I think he has talent, but if we get 60 million, goodbye. I'll be fine if he leaves for that, you know, for 60 million. If not, Bentancur can go as well. We just need to, you know, with 1 game a week, 2 have to go, and we need a right back. Since
I think
we have no backup.
I don't think we're going to get right back. I think what we've seen preseason, Archie Gray out there, I think is you know what we're going to see as the second right back option heading into the season.
And
I think he actually starts against Brentford, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean he does, but I mean that's an issue for me. Yeah, he doesn't have enough pace for me to play as a wing back or a full back, and I'm afraid we're going to waste his talent. He's a midfielder, so.
Do you know what will happen to him? Exactly what's happened to Lewis Miles Skelly at Arsenal, because he's being used as a rotation player.
Exactly.
Eventually, when they're bringing in specialists,
exactly,
the manager doesn't know what to do with him or where to nurture him, and then they're letting him move on now. That's going to happen to Archie Gray at Tottenham if we don't start honing him in the position we bought him for. But Eugene, it's been fun chatting to you again, my man. Good to see you around. Love the optimism heading into the season, my man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very optimistic. Again, like I said, until the first game when I'm like, oh man, we still have Solanke up front or Richarlison up front. Again, just given 1 game a week, if we bring in 2 players, which I still think we will, even though I might not rate them highly, and even though we're going to have to overpay. But if we do, I definitely think we can battle for Europe. I mean, top 5. I mean, top 4, top 5. I don't think it matters, right? Because top 5 get Champions League. So top 5 is definitely doable.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I just don't want to be screaming and shouting and losing my mind this year. I actually want to enjoy my football for once, lad. Well, Eugene, you have a good day, sir.
All right, boys. Thanks.
All right. Thank you,
Yeah.
Eugene.
Have a
Appreciate you,
good
my
one,
friend.
man.
Good to
Bye-bye.
have you.
So far, the general consensus seems to be if we don't bring in, any attacking players between now and the end of the window, European qualification of some sort, Europa League or Europa Conference League, and that we do, then people think we can make a good push for the top four. So that seems to be the general consensus far on that one. Look, all we need is just Lanky Richarlison just to get us, stall us time until we can get these players in, and then hopefully they can come in and lift off.
It's funny to ask people who your top goal scorer prediction is going to be because you just see their faces change where they realize, well, I don't really know any of the players.
Right now, you have to pick Richarlison, I feel.
Yeah, it's like you're picking a mystery player and then mystery player or Richarlison.
Mystery box.
That's where I feel about this window. That's where I think we're all left a little bit confused by it.
Yeah.
But let's get to some of the people that have made themselves known in the chat. Breezy Gas, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a member of the channel. Tala as well. Thank you for the wonderful support. Good to have you with us. 40 months from earlier. And then We Are Spurs TV. Sparkles. I would say normally you're not full of sparkles. We Are Spurs TV, but good to have you in the house. And let's keep this going. Thank you as well to Zachary saying, appreciate you guys. Always a great show. Thank you guys. Thank you, Zach. I mean, they're doing the heavy lifting, the fans here, the people that are calling in. We're just asking them the questions, putting them to the sword. And so far, I think pretty reasonable from everybody. Dermatron got us off on some good vibes. Very reasonable from Eugene. I said it would be spicy, but it sounds like it might be spicier after the weekend with how it unfolds. Whether it's a win or a loss, it looks like Eugene is kind of reserving some judgment for the most part. And then Del Boy saying, nice one, Eugene. Lenny Rogers, come on, you Spurs. Good to have you with us.
Okay, so just a quick update on the Jules thing, Jack. So basically, it's like super chatting, I believe, without putting in a super chat. They buy these jewels off YouTube, and then you divvy them out then as they want. So appreciate the support, guys. Very, very kind of you.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
And you've made me learn something new today, so thank you.
Interesting. Because it seems like I have jewels, but I have no idea when I bought them or if I ever did buy them. Maybe you just earned them or something like that.
Maybe you start off with a couple and then you top them up. That's what it says here on Google AI anyway.
Well, there you are, doing the research live and in real time, everybody. Let's get this going. We're going on to Stefan next. Good to have him back. Stefan, boys.
Let's bring him on.
Hey, guys.
Hey there, Stefan.
Good evening.
What's up?
How you keeping?
Yeah, good, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. New Premier League season on the horizon, my man. Obviously, we're not in perfect shape, but I do feel like we're, regardless of whether we get any of the forward players in or not, I do feel like we're going to finish higher up the table and it won't be as much of a stressful season. Do you share the same opinion or are you slightly different?
No, I'm very optimistic. Always optimistic at the start of the season, so looking forward to it.
And what sort of shape do you think we're in coming out of pre-season? I know some people say it's only pre-season, you can't take anything from it, but I think, towards the end of the pre-season games, I certainly think you can sort of see what shape.
I think you can try and see what kind of patterns of play and stuff. But going by last year's pre-season, we ended up beating Arsenal. They won the league and we nearly got relegated. So you can't really take pre-season, too serious. It's just about match fitness, I think, and getting players up to speed and stuff. And I think some of the players that have looked good. I think Tal's come on a lot. I think he looks really good.
What do you think he's improved in, though?
His take on rate. I've never noticed this before, but he just seems to be able to beat players a lot easier. His decision making has improved, and I think if you look at him, he just looks more motivated. I don't think he really got a fair shout under Thomas Frank. He never got like a run of games, and he was like a disaster of a manager. So the reason I'm really optimistic is because of the manager we got. Really, I think he's gonna just even if we don't bring in the attackers, I think he's going to be able to get this team playing. Because I don't look at individuals like we're signing players to come in like, oh no, why are we signing Gakpo or Savinho? Their numbers aren't great. I think if you look at what De Zerbi can do with these players and he's identified them, then it's all about how he uses them in a system and how we're going to be able to not only control games because our midfield is going to be so much better, which is going to put less stress on our back four. It's also going to allow us, he's going to free up the attack and we're going to see, I think we're going to start to see some really good football. Okay, the players might not be as clinical as like what Kane and Son were, but I think these players are coming, Gakpo and Savinho. I think they'll surprise a few people. I think both of them are capable of getting up to 10 goals and maybe 10 assists as well. And I put that down to the manager. I think if these players were playing under a negative manager like Frank, I could totally understand why, this would be a bit of a disaster. But if you put these players, and they've come from good clubs, I don't really agree what the last caller said about not buying players from the clubs that are above us because they're rejected. Well, if you look at their age and they're good ages, like Gakpo's been Premier League proven, he's been a good player for Liverpool. He's just, they're bringing in Barcola, so they're going to essentially upgrade. Maybe we can do that in a few years. And Savinho, I think, is another one. He's a young winger. If you watched him in Spain, he was awesome. I think he might have suffered from what Pep was doing to some wingers, and I think he likes to play with a bit of freedom. And he's looked pretty good in pre-season as well. So yeah, that's why I'm optimistic.
I think you make a fair point around, could De Zerbi maybe improve them a little where it sort of does add more numbers to the game and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'd argue with Matisse Tell, I don't think it's just down to the De Zerbi factor. I also think the fact Anthony Robertson coming in left foot
definitely.
is helping to Matisse Tell improve as well. But I think, one thing people forget with Matisse Tell, we've had him around for a year and a half, not really producing too much. So it's not all just down to De Zerbi. It is down to him getting them games under his belt, a little bit more experience and stuff. And I just question, I think many people, when they're maybe not against Savinho or Gakpo, but question how much they're going to improve us. It's do we have to go through that same sort of time frame and that same time period again, more so with Savinho than Gakpo, because Gakpo's on the older side, but more so with Savinho? Do we have that time right now to wait again for them to come good, if you know what I mean?
Possibly, but if you think about it as a window, as just one transfer window, if we manage to get those two with all the other players we've got a completely different team as what we had last season, and they're more than capable to get us in the top 6. So I'd be very happy. And what's exciting is maybe not necessarily this window, but when the striker market does become a bit more easier to get players away from their clubs, is we now have the funds and can pay the wages to get those players. And if we can get ourselves in a top 6 position, they'll be more likely to come. So yeah, I think it's a long-term vision. I don't think it's just a lot of people, complaining that we're not getting the forwards in. But realistically, if you think about it, I mean, it sounds like an absolute dream. If we were to bring in someone like Osimhen or someone like that with the players that we've already brought in, that's just that would be crazy good. But realistically, that's not going to happen. So you got to think. Sometimes you just have to take a step back. Think we've addressed the defense, we've addressed the midfield. That's brilliant. We just got to go again with the forwards. And even if they're not the forwards that people want, if they don't work out, that's fine. We can bend them off. But I think De Zerbi's he's gonna work his little magic, and he's gonna get these players in positions where they can actually do damage. Because the problem with Frank and Tudor was at times he wasn't able to get these attackers on the pitch because of an injury crisis, and that's another issue in itself. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because the team will be managed better. But he'll have a pattern and a way of playing that we probably haven't even seen yet. Because if you think about it, we're only seeing little tiny glimpses in pre-season friendlies. It's all the work they do behind the scenes. So there's going to be so much to see. So that's what I'm really looking forward to it, because it's almost like this entire summer, everything they've been doing in training, it's all hopefully going to come out in the next few games, even with the players we've got available. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think we also have these mishmash squads that we've been seeing in preseason. I've also thought about that, where it's maybe some of these squads that we've seen in these preseason games have more chemistry with each other than others. And once we see the Brentford game, it's that is going to be, in De Zerbi's mind, the best team to be able to deliver his football for that weekend. And of course, it's going to develop after that. But that's also been in the back of my head with this preseason so far. It's not, we don't really even know what the best team is right now.
No, I could kind of run through a quick team if you want.
Go ahead.
I think we'll play against Brentford. I think it's obviously going to be Kingsley in goal. I think Archie Gray play right back. I think it'll be Van Heckel centre back. Could Senesi play with him? Because I don't think Van der Vaart.
Yeah, I think Van
der Vaart will partner him. And then I think Anthony Robson will be on the other side. I think Mateus Fernandes will start alongside Tonali, which would be really interesting. I'm not sure if those two play together, or if they haven't played together that much.
One game, and I think
Charlton, I think.
Yeah. So that's the next coming of Wanyama. and Dembele, because I think we haven't had two players like that as good since then.
Are you ruling out Bentancur breaking up that partnership?
Possibly, but the way I look at it is like who looks the sharpest, and I'd probably put Bergvall in there just because he looks the sharpest, or Gallagher, because I think when you look at match fitness and sharpness, I think they're the players that look like they're most ready. They're not necessarily going to be the long-term options, but until those other players come back and are up to scratch, then that's what we've got. And I think Tala play. I don't know who the centre forward will be. We might even play with a false nine and put Gallagher up there. I could see that as an option as well. I don't think Kudus will be ready. No, I mean, a lot of people got problems with Gallagher because of his ability on the ball, but I think he's going to play a lot of games this season. And to be honest with you, when you're building a team, like I said, I'm more about the team than individuals. If you're going to be pressing all over the pitch, you're going to want Gallagher on your side because he's just going to run and run. The guy that's all he does. So I think he'll be perfect for that. When you're playing against certain teams, you want to try and trap them, press them up really, really high. And there's no one better than that. He might not be the guy that throws the
last
ball.
year, prime example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he clocked onto that very quickly, deservedly. So, yeah, the manager's like obsessed with football. That's all he thinks about. After the final game of the season, his interview was like, "Yeah, this is great. We stayed up. 9 o'clock this evening is where I start." I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is crazy."
He also wasn't lying when he said there's only 10 or 12 of them that would survive his call as well. He wasn't lying in that regard either.
No, he's been the manager that they should have got from the very start. So, well, it took a long way, it took a long time to get there, but yeah, I'm glad he's here now. So hopefully it's like a second coming of Poch, and we can try and build something off that. And yeah, I don't see us anywhere near the relegation. Touch wood. I see us more pushing for Europe. And that'd be if we get into Europe. Obviously, we're going to have to bolster up our squad again. So these players that people might not rate, they're going to come in handy for what could be a European campaign the year after. So you've got to think of it like that, you know. These players, they can hang around, they can be upgraded. There could be first team players that can come in. But if let's say in 2 years' time, we've got Gakpo and Savino on the bench, and we've got forwards that are starting ahead of them, you know, our bench is going to look pretty serious if you think of it like that. So yeah.
Do you think Europe would be considered a successful season?
It's hard to tell at the moment until the window's finished, but I think, like, let's say if it's shut tomorrow, I think we would finish around eighth or seventh or eighth. I think if we get these players in, I think they could somewhere between fourth and sixth. So fifth will get you Champions League. So yeah, I don't see why not. I think another reason is why is because so many other teams are unsettled.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think, you know, if it was a normal Premier League season, I think, you know, probably with the likes of Klopp and Guardiola and around, I think people would probably temper their expectations a little bit. But because it's so wide open and there's been so many managerial changes and, you know, a lot of clubs still haven't done their business enough, you know, it sort of does, you know, some of the teething problems you might usually see affect the team. We might just get away with something like that this year.
Yeah, I'd like to see us win a London derby this year. I feel like it's been too long.
But you know what?
Fed up of just getting spanked basically every single fucking time we play Chelsea.
But you know what? At least we'll give them a better go. At least we won't sit off them. Respect them, tell them how great they are, and break record XG back to back. You know, at least this year we're going to have a go regardless of the players we've got.
That's what you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least be competitive. It just feels like, to your point, Stefan, in most of these London derbies, we've been embarrassed, like torn apart.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I got a feeling we'll win at least one game. I mean, we got 4 games, one against Arsenal at home and away, one against Chelsea home and away. So yeah, we should win one of them. I hope. I pray.
Let's hope. Any bold prediction that you might be having that you haven't said? Something that would maybe be a niche or something like that?
With Spurs, or just like in general, but maybe
in general, if you had one on that back of your head, or just
I don't think Arsenal will win the league. That's my wild prediction.
Wow, okay.
I just think football has a funny way of throwing up these stories. And if you think back to last year, everyone thought Liverpool were going to walk the league. And what happened? Yep. That didn't happen. They get these players and they get a few centre-backs. There's so many like ifs and buts because of the transfer window. It's not just for us, it's for everyone else. If Man City end up getting Enzo Fernandez, and you know, there's so much that can happen, but it's very hard to retain a Premier League title. And I was in Cardiff on Sunday for different reasons, and Yeah, they were absolutely crawling around. They outnumbered Man City fans massively, and I nearly missed my train because of them. There was a whole crowd in the
Did you
station.
wear that
and
jersey on the train on the way home?
Oh God, I would have got my ass kicked, I think. But if I had a leg to stand on, I might have said something. I did actually to the fans who are a little bit smaller than me. I think when I walked past a few of them, I kind of whispered, "Go on, you Spurs," like that, and they kind of just completely spooked by it. They were like, "What? Who was that?" Yeah, of course I'm not wearing. Yeah, deserving.
You've got to get it out.
I'm gonna start doing that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing that on my runs if
It's
I
like
see someone with
Tourette's.
an Arsenal
You
kit
gotta
or
get
something
it
like that. Just
Yeah.
whisper something. I love that. It's clever, Stefan. Well, man, honestly, great. Just like Eugene, I thought very reasonable from you.
Yeah.
And very, very good answers. And I agree with you on maybe football has a funny way of just absolutely shocking what originally people are predicting. Like everyone, just like you're saying, thought Liverpool it was going to be a walk for them, and they ended up being disappointment almost from the beginning. Really,
Exactly.
So, fair point.
And hopefully it can start this Friday when they play Coventry, because I'll be watching it. So.
Yeah. But thanks, Stefan. Very reasonable and
No worries.
great calling. Very
I'm gonna
efficient as well. I
around,
got
man.
through a lot there. Well done.
I'm going to chill out and watch the rest of it. And,
Thank you,
yeah,
my man.
have a good evening.
Thanks, Stefan. See you next time.
Go on, you Spurs.
Come on,
Come
you
on, you
Spurs.
Spurs.
You got
Good
through
to
a
see
lot there.
Stefan
Fair
back,
play.
actually. Good to see him back. He's excited heading into this year. It's good to, do you know what, Jack? It's just good to have a bit of optimism, you know.
Yeah.
You know yourself, it's hard to stream and talk about Tottenham's problems and, you know, just all the time it's just negative. It's just good to have some fresh optimism heading into the year. Now, how long it's going to last, we don't know, but I'm going to enjoy it while it's here.
Chop Cheese, thank you for spending the jewels.
Uncle
Uncle Alert. A few more
Is
years.
this a thing as
Dave
well?
is going to reach
Uncle
Unk status in a few more years. I will as well. Big up, Chop Cheese. Simon Coley, I believe this is.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the season. Big up, Jack and Dave. Good job. Loving the discussion. I think it's been a class fan show so far. I think everyone's been great. Everyone's been class. And it's a lot of the regulars. Hopefully we get some new faces. I know Chop Cheese, who we're about to talk to, is a newer face, but he's had some great fan show calling so far. Looking forward to his
Good energy
predictions.
as well.
Good energy. Big up, Simon. Been very, very
Simon,
kind to us for a
when are you
long
gonna
time.
come on?
Yeah, come on, Big Simon. And then Lenny Rogers, never been so excited for the Premier League to return. Got high hopes for our super Tottenham. Love that. Zachary saying, I'm loving the culture De Zerbi is creating. You see, he's getting the fire back in the belly of the players from last season that had no fight. Well said. And then Stefan saying, I suspect De Zerbi will play Bentancur's number 6 with 2 number 8s of Fernandez and Tonali. That's kind of secretly, I think, what Dave and I want, especially with certain games when you just want to control possession, really dominate the midfield. I think those are really guys that also as well struggle to get the ball off of, you would think.
Until we get a proper number 10 back, you know, that's what I would go with personally.
CV Walsh, I'd be happy with getting Europa League this season, winning it next season, then season 3, a Champions League run, slowly and steadily, assuming De Zerbi stays. All right.
Yeah, look, I won't turn my nose up for any European trophy. I enjoyed the living shite out of that Europa League run and winning it that night and for the months after. So, you know, I wouldn't mind that feeling again. And I enjoyed the parade of over 200 and some thousand people as well.
I think, too, like the Europa League, I love the Europa League. I find it to be still a challenging enough competition while also maybe being able to get away with some more squad rotation. Sometimes you can do in the Champions League. So I'm a big fan of the Europa League. I would love to finish in the Europa League again. Of course, Champions League is better, but it's not a competition I ever sniff my nose at. Stevie Frazier, hell yeah, boys. I always do that to the Gooners. Out in the wild has to be done. Absolutely. Big up to Stevie.
It's like Tourette's. You see it and you just got to, you know, walk back right in. You know what I mean? Gareth Bale, stuff like that. Just let it out. And RHT, I've always had that happy clapper in me. It's just, you know, with how bad Tottenham have been, it's sort of suppressed it the last while. But don't you worry.
It comes out.
I'm just waiting to let it out. I'm like a jack in the box. I'm just being wound up with each transfer coming in. And eventually the striker and the winger is going to come in and out I'll pop. And I'm going to be absolutely irresistible when that happens. So love that. Big up RST.
And now, I believe I have it right. We have Chop Cheese next. Let's see what he has to say.
Choppy, let's bring him in. Good
What's
evening,
going on, boys?
You
Happy
keep him back?
Season
Let's
prediction
go.
time.
Thanks for having me back. You guys ready to chop it up a little, Spurs?
Yeah, let's chop it up.
Where do you want to start with just this weekend, the upcoming game? Maybe your preferred midfield 3. Are you confident we're going to start off with a win this weekend?
Let's go. So if no signings come in, my predicted lineup is going to be Robertson at left back. Van der Ven's injured right now, so it's going to be Senesi starting at left center back. It's going to be Van Heck and Poro. I believe Poro will be back for this game. If not, I'm guessing it's going to be Archie Gray.
Yeah.
Kinski and net. My dream midfield three for this coming up game is going to be Tonali, Fernandez, and Madison. That's the three that I really want to see.
Okay.
And then for up top, it's going to be Tell on the left, Richie at striker. Kudus is injured right now. I don't think he's going to be playing against Brentford, so I'm going to put Mikey Moore there.
All right. I like
this
it.
kind of goes into my question for you guys. That being my starting lineup for the Brentford game, we're actually 3-1 our last 4 meetings with Brentford. We haven't lost in 4 games, and that's during our 2 crappiest seasons in recent history. So that being said, we kind of have their number. They seem like a team where we kind of flex our muscle of being like a higher standard team. I'm going to go with 2-1 Spurs, but if I was to change that result, I would go 3-1 Spurs.
All right. You're not at all maybe looking at Brentford a bit differently after their last season, because they were good last season. A lot better.
Yeah, but look at us last season. We finished 17th. We had a horrible season, and they couldn't beat us.
Fair point.
Fair. That's fair.
And I think we're better this year than last year.
To your, it's like Man City for some reason. We have their number. It's just historically we just always seem to find a way.
What do you guys think,
Dave?
Look, I agree with the back line and I agree with the goalkeeper. I think with the midfield, I don't think Madison was good the other day at all. I think he's a long way from really being back match fit and impacting games at this level. So personally, I wouldn't go with him. I think he will go with Conor Gallagher just because, the minutes the guy's had in his preseason. But I still question what the guy actually does in possession. So Rhino's in the background. I'm sure he'll let me know when he comes on. But I would actually go with Bentancur. I think, Bentancur came in for his first minutes there the other day and he didn't lose the ball once. He was absolutely sensational. And I would go with that 3 in the midfield personally because I just think it gives you control of the game.
You want Bentancur over Fernandez?
Well, I would go with Bentancur, Tonali, and Fernandez as my midfield 3 against Brentford.
Oh, okay. Who's playing the 10 in that way then?
Well, I would probably play either Tonali or Bentancur a bit further back, and then play the other 2 as sort of 2 number 8s. That's what I would personally do. I don't think De Zerbi's going to do that.
I would be cool with that.
But that's just my opinion. I just think that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bentancur was to come in and slide in alongside Tonali. Fernandez has sort of had a bit of fatigue across the preseason and stuff, and I just think De Zerbi likes Bentancur more than what Spurs fans give credit. I think Spurs fans' opinion of Bentancur was mainly tainted by Thomas Frank and the restrictions he put on Bentancur's game. And, when you seen Bentancur come back from injury last year, as soon as he was fit, De Zerbi threw him straight in there, and he was the guy you relied on. As soon as he took him off, we lost control of the games for the last 20 minutes, and we were sitting there trying to survive. So, for me, I'm not writing off Bentancur. I think I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go with Tonali and a Bentancur, as a double pivot, sort of, fairly quickly into the season.
I feel the same way with the midfield.
Dave, with Kudus being injured.
Yeah,
I would go.
I think, the fact that De Zerbi has put a halt to Mikey Moore's loan until we get in players, I think he's no option but to start him off the right-hand side, Matisse Tell off the left, and Richarlison through the middle. I think, honestly, I think the starting lineup from last week is exactly on the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is exactly what's going to be rolled out, this weekend against Brentford. But look, Mikey Moore, it's another opportunity that he has. I've seen an interview he done where he was saying he agrees that he's come back from pre-season a bit slow. He's just finding his feet now, which he's lucky Spurs haven't brought in any players, because if he did, he'd find himself shipped out right now. So you might just get one more opportunity at Premier League level to try and prove everybody wrong.
So if that's the lineup, what do you guys think? What's your results? What's your predictions?
Jack?
I like a 2-1 because we are away from home. You expect that there's always that buzz in the stadium for the teams returning. And I agree with you that maybe we do have Brentford's number, but I think Keith Edwards did an exceptional job last season with them. So I'm feeling like they're not going to be easy, but I like a 2-1. I like a 2-1 because 2-1 is also maybe reflective of we'll probably create a lot of chances, but we're not going to maybe put them in, one after another and just absolutely just blow them by. It seems like maybe until we get some real clinical players in the team, there will be a lot of games when maybe we're creating loads, but we're not actually putting away them. So 2-1 is kind of fair.
Do you know what? I'm going to go, although I don't think it's going to be easy, I think Brentford are going to be a lot better than what people actually expect. and I think they will cause us trouble from set pieces as well. That's still continuing under Keith Andrews. But you know what?
Keith Andrews, yeah,
He did
sorry.
start off the season well under Frank last year and scored a couple of goals out the bat, and Richarlison was on fire. So, you know what? I'm going to go 3-1 this weekend.
Let's go, Dave. I love it.
3-1.
3-1.
So,
do you have any bold
let me ask you guys
predictions?
this question.
Or go
I
ahead.
came on last time and I told you guys how much I love Spence and that he would probably be my starting left back, right? Now my boy's gone. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate that decision. Maybe, you know, behind the scenes, we don't know what's going on. Maybe he was like, listen, I don't want to be here if I'm not getting consistent minutes. And then therefore we were kind of forced to sell him. But that being said, Spence is gone. How do you guys feel about, you know, our depth now at right back? It's probably going to be Gray as our backup right back. And that's really not his preferred specialized position. So how do you guys feel about our depth spot now at right back?
Jack?
I think Archie Gray can do a job out there, but I do think there will be the Dokus and whatnot of the world you just expect could give him a really hard time, because I don't think he's going to be someone that's going to have that first step on a lot of these players. He's athletic enough, but I think nowadays, like against some of these really tricky wingers, I could see him struggling. I think his positioning, though, is clearly good because he's able to hold himself well enough. We haven't seen him just get torn apart time after time at fullback, but I think if he ends up, let's say Porro is injured, suspension, whatever it might be, if he comes up against a really good fullback like or winger like a Doku or someone who is basically the quickest in the league, those type of wingers, really dynamic ones, let's say like a version of like a Kudus or someone, I could see him struggling. But then again, Porro also struggles against those guys too. It's just maybe the trade, and that's what made Jed Spence so great, was that we knew in those games that's when it was maybe a good idea to have someone like Jed Spence around, because he's more defensively specialized than maybe going forward. It seems like he's a stopgap right now, Archie Gray, and that's all he'll be. And I'm not sure how much of a price we'll pay for it, but there could be a game or two when maybe he is going to struggle. But
I agree. I agree with Jack on that. I think where I worry about him is in the high line coming up against a winger that's just quick feet and quick in behind. I think he'll be exposed once or twice. But, you know, with Jed Spence, I do think it's a case he's pushed for the move.
yeah,
You know, for a number of reasons. I think he wants to go out and play first team football. I believe he wants to play week in, week out. But second of all, you know, I've been doing a lot more sort of research on De Zerbi and stuff like that over the last couple of days. And, you know, one thing that keeps popping up on the training pitch, he doesn't like people out there laughing and joking. If you're on the tree, he says you can do all that outside and in and around, you know, in the canteen and stuff, no problem. But on the training pitch and in the meeting rooms, it's locked in and dead serious. And Jed Spence does not strike me as that sort of character, you know, I think. So I just wonder, you know, is Jed Spence gone, do you know what? I don't have it mentally to last under this manager 2, 3, 4 years, especially as a backup as well. And, you know, I want my move. But, you know, left back, I think we're fine in terms of depth. You know, I think Robertson will be the number one fullback. I think Adogi will just have to accept the fact there's areas of his games he has to improve if he wants to. You displace him. But you know what? I think over the course of the season, I think we'll get away with it this year, you know.
Yeah, I just like, you know, if Porro goes down, I'm going to be so pissed off. I'm going to be like, damn, Porro's down and now we got Archie Gray at right back. It's like we can never just have like a fully solid lineup. You know what I mean? It'll be driving me crazy on the inside.
What I will say is, though, I am looking forward to seeing Robertson and Porro getting up either side, you know, putting in these lovely crosses because, you know, I think last year we became heavily reliant on Pedro Porro all season to be the creator, the defender, and score goals at times. Whereas, you know, we need help over the other side. And, you know, I'm excited to see what these two can produce because them two alone putting in the quality of crosses will up the amount of chances we've created, you know, than last season. Just them two alone.
How much does it annoy you or concern you that Adogi is always injured? He's injured again. Going into the season, Adogi injured. It drives me crazy. I think the guy's made out of glass.
Do you know what, though? I'm going to be fair with him on this. I don't think it's all his fault. Like, if you remember a couple of seasons ago, he came back from an operation. Spurs had all summer to go and sign a left back. They chose not to. And as soon as the season started, he was thrown straight back in just after being off the operation a week or two. So you're not giving your player a chance to really get back, heal himself, get back to full fitness and stuff. And, you know, if you're throwing him in and taking a risk like that, then, you know, I'm not being funny, but I'd expect my athlete to break down again very, very quickly and stuff because you're just putting more wear and tear on a body. Sometimes you have to know when it's right to sit off the player and really let it heal. And stuff. And that's something Tottenham's got wrong. Same with Vicario. I know everyone, I don't care if Vicario is leaving and stuff like that, but let's be real. Don't get me wrong, he didn't help himself with some of the performances, but guy broke his ankle and was thrown straight back into the firing line, and then his kicking was costing us and stuff like that. And how much do you put on him and how much do you put on the club not having the right replacements to allow these guys to get back from injury? Hopefully that'll change this year, though. Like I said, Dan Lewington has brought a new approach. It's sort of position specialized physios and plans and stuff like that. So we'll see if it suits him any better, I suppose, Chappie.
Yeah, solid point, Dave. Solid point.
Brian's testing you on 2.0 in the case of Udogi.
Yeah.
Right now it's looking like that.
And then he leaves, and then all of a sudden he has a clean bill of health once he's gone. I think that
what would you guys rate our window right now if it ended today? No more signings coming in. This is what we're going into the season with. What do you rate this window currently?
5 out of 10, to be honest, because I think we've done half the job.
Okay.
I think we needed to revamp pretty much this whole team, but the area that needed the strongest revamp was the forward line, and we've not touched it at all. So I would say it's kind of jobs half finished type of thing. I think we've done an exceptional job in replacing Romero as best we can, in adding quality to this midfield. But everyone, including myself, I believe, if we went back and said, like, what area needs the most improvement, we felt like it was the forward line. We haven't touched it. So I'm going to sort of call it a job half finished. Maybe it sounds negative, but I'm giving it a 5 in that case.
No, I completely agree with Jack. I think
Really?
we've done half to the job. Yeah, we spent 237 million to date, but we had 2 back-to-back 17th place finishes. We were on the cusp of getting relegated because their business model, where they didn't want to splash out on these players. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's been an 8 out of 10. We've got Tonali and Fernandes. These players should have been walking in the door a long, long time ago. We would never have ever been in and around 17th. So for me, they're only repairing the damage that Daniel Levy done in terms of his penny pinching, in terms of squad building and stuff like that. So, and they've still got a long way to go. Like, last year, for instance, right, they only done half the job. They brought in forward players, but they didn't fix the midfield for Thomas Frank and other areas. So, for me, there's still half the job to be done. And scoring goals in Premier League level is the hardest thing to do at that level. And, we've been crap at that for a number of years now, and it's not been solved. And even though Matisse Tell is improving, even though Mikey Moore might get an opportunity, you can't be in a situation going into a Premier League season where all your creativity is on an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old shoulders. It's insane.
Me personally, I'm giving this window a 7 right now if it was to stop today.
There are a few sevens.
I'll give you my reasoning.
Hit me with it.
Jack said that the biggest issue he thought was our front three, and I honestly thought that our biggest issue was our midfield. I was so fed up of watching Gray and Bentancur start. I mean, not Bentancur, I'm sorry. I was so fed up of watching Gray and Bergval man the midfield for so many games. They were both so young, teenagers, unexperienced, and we would get bullied in the midfield, and we would just get overran. We wouldn't be able to keep possession. We couldn't string passes together, and I thought that was really the major downfall of our team. This year, so, Dave, you've been saying, like, going into this Brentford game, you're still worried about our front three, how we're going to score goals, and how we're going to put it on teams still. I truly believe, and I said this to you guys on the last stream, I think that our midfield is going to finally chip in now. I think Tonali will add goals. I think Fernandes will add goals. I think the fact that we're going to have switch-hitting passers and guys who can actually pull off through balls and progressive passing with Van Heck, Senesi, Tonali and Fernandes is really going to open up our offense way more than it was last year. So even if we don't bring in a new front three, I still see us putting more goals on the board from prettier style of play and from proper offensive progression. So
I agree with you on that part, but where I would say is where I'm a bit hesitant to fully go with that is, when we had Harry Kane and Son, I'd tell people, but it's great, everyone's going to chip in. And I highlighted that other players were chipping in with 4 or 5 goals from other positions. But then we lost Kane and Son, and we were just left with them players chipping in, random goal scorers. We still lack that clinical player or two up front that's going to bag you them 15, 20 goals a season. It's so important. Like last year, Paulinho chipped in with goals. Romero chipped in with goals. Van de Ven chipped in with goals. So we've always had goals from other players. But because of their positions, because they play further back, there's only so many they're actually going to chip in with. You do need a player across the front line that is going to bag you consistent goals across the campaign.
I agree, but once Kane and Son left, I think if you compare all the midfielders that we had since they've left, I think Tonali and Fernandez are head and shoulders better than every midfielder that we had since they left. So
Great.
I think that the quality of midfield that we have this year is really going to show. It's going to be the best quality midfield we've had in a long time. And I give the window 7 out of 10 because we got Robbo in on a free. We got Senesi in on a free. The whole back line is fixed. You fixed the midfield. So, yeah, we're lacking on the offensive side of the pitch. But I think, besides for two positions, besides for striker and left wing, Kudus is good at right wing when he's fit. And especially if Kulishevsky comes back fit and he's also able to man the right wing a little bit, we're basically set at every position on the field except for our striker and our left wing. And our striker, Richarlison, he's decent. He'll get the job done. But yes, we all want better. But we're not like severely lacking there. And I'm finally, I'm excited to see Richie play more in the box and really not get involved too much in link-up play because that's where he fails. His first touch is terrible. I think the guy's got a tennis racket on his foot. But when it comes to finishing chances, he'll be decent. If Robbo can progress the ball all the way up the pitch and then get him that cross like we just saw, he'll bag it. So I think we're decent. I think it's a 7 out of 10. Now, that kind of brings me to my next question for you guys. Let's say we do get Savinho and Gakpo in. How do you feel about those being our two winger signings this season? And then if we do get Savinho and Gakpo, what do you rate the window?
Ooh. Definitely bumps up to an 8 for me. Just because I think then with that, I'd feel more comfortable with having those options. And then also, I know with maybe this was Chris's point or Stefan's point, maybe both of them made the point that we will then start to see the likes of Madison start to come back to full fitness. We will eventually see Kudu start to come back to full fitness. Some of these guys that we are waiting on to get back into the team. It's just, it feels dangerous right now to be like, well, Madison is ready. It's like, he doesn't look ready, like Dave is saying. I think we need guys that can step in right now to fill in these gaps. And then we'll start to see the team really improve once some of these injured players start coming back from injury. But I don't want to be rushing them back because that's what it feels like we're in the mindset of right now. I think it bumps up very quickly to an 8 for me.
I'm still hesitant. As long as you've got them supplying Richarlison or Solanke,
That's
I
true.
still
Sorry, I
think
didn't
there's
think
going to
about
be
the striker.
problems. But I assume if he brings in them two, he's going to try and isolate them from the lineup, and he'll configure a 3 with the other options, whether it's Matisse Tal then goes up front and Gakpo goes left and Savinho goes right. Look, with Savinho, I do take into account that, look, even some of the greatest players I've ever seen, Etu, Ibrahimovic, they become tired under Guardiola because of the demands, some of the restrictions that's placed on them. And that could be the case with Savinho, where maybe, he's Brazilian, he's probably lost a bit of love for the game. Brazilian forward players especially do like to have a bit of freedom. De Zerbi would probably give that to Savinho to a certain degree. And I do take into account that because of the type of manager De Zerbi is and how focused he is on improving these players, even just, what he said to Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore scored 2 goals the other day, but De Zerbi pulled out one attack where Mikey Moore let us down and we didn't create a chance off the back of it. So, I do think there will be a degree that he'll improve them to a certain degree. But with Savinho, I think it's going to be a bit like Matisse Tal, where games and experience, is what he's going to need to really sort of see the player really come on. Do we have that time before Spurs fans start getting frustrated with him? Let's not forget, when we signed Xavi Simons, every Spurs fan wanted him, and for windows before that, we're calling for the guy. Within 3 months, he's shit, he's useless, and he's not good enough. So that's where I worry with Savinho. With Gakpo, again, look, I've never really been his biggest fan, to be brutally honest with you. I've never really gone on the hype train. I do take into account, even Mo Salah had a shit season for Liverpool last year, so how much can you read into that? But again, is he going to burden, because you're bringing him in at 27 years of age, so he's the experienced guy, so he's the guy everyone's looking at to produce straight away and to produce the numbers. Does he have that in him? I'm not so sure, but like I said, where we're at right now, with the lack of options coming in, I certainly don't want to go into the season with the current front line we've got. We do, so I'll take the gamble, and I'll bump the window up to a 6, and then I'll see how it goes, and if they produce, then I'll bump it up further.
Okay, all right, you tough cookie, Dave.
You'll break them eventually, Chop. You'll break them. We still have a few more guys in the back end, Chop Cheese, so I'll finish you off with any bold predictions that maybe, like Stefan had earlier, Dermatron, anything that's on the back of your mind that might surprise us.
I don't have a bold prediction. Well, I guess, I don't know. You may take it as bold, but what I'm going to say is we're getting back to where we belong. We're a top 6 club. We're finishing in the top 6 this year.
Love that.
That's my prediction.
Do you know
Beautiful.
what? That's all I want coming out of this season. Restoring ourselves inside the top 6
Me
and
too.
getting some respect
Yes,
back.
sir.
For sure. And I do have your email, by the way, and I will be in contact.
You're the man. Let me ask
Yeah.
you guys one question real quick, just for me, personal question.
Let's go.
I get a kit every year. This year, I'm going to get the kit that's like the iridescent color, that dark with like the purple and the orange.
Yeah, the
going on.
away kit. Yeah.
Who would you guys get? I'm thinking either Tonali, Kudus, or maybe a Poro.
Oh,
Tonali
look,
for
first-
sure.
Yeah. I was going to say Tonali. You got to commemorate the
Tonali,
£100
right?
million signing. Yeah, you have
Yeah, I
to.
hope he's elite too. Like our first £100 million signing, I want him to like really be that guy, you know?
Yeah.
I
But
think
you know
it's
what?
a good one. That's like a statement too to other fans who see your kit. It's like, yep, that's
Yeah.
the new guy on the block at Spurs. I think that's a good one.
Do you know what? I would almost tell you to hold out, because if the third kit coming out is, if what was leaked is what the actual third jersey is, then I think that's the nicest one of the lot.
What are you talking about? That purple one?
Yeah.
I see you like. I'm not the biggest fan of that.
No.
Neither am I.
See,
Yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not,
not the
fan
biggest
of,
fan
I'm
of
not
that.
fan of colors, but I really like that one.
I think we've
So,
had better purple ones in
It's
the
hit me
past.
this year.
And just to let you guys know, I have $200 on Spurs money line 3-way come that day. So let's go Spurs. And
Come
I'm
on.
also going to an Irish pub that is fully Coys. They only support Tottenham, and it's down here in Tampa. So I'm going to a nice
Beautiful.
Irish bar, going to get some mashed potatoes and beef, some shepherd's pie, watch the game. So yeah, I can't wait.
You're gonna be having a better time than Dave and I.
Yeah,
Honestly, we're gonna be jealous. We're gonna be jealous.
You guys are going to be in my ear with the earpiece, man. I like to listen to the watch along while I watch the game.
Oh,
I
you're
love
class,
that,
man.
man.
Chop, you're
Appreciate
great,
that.
man.
Yeah,
Really
you
good.
guys are the man.
Sure.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on,
we
you
need
Spurs.
those wingers to come in. And boys, you guys are the best. Couple goats. Everybody like and subscribe to their page. Come on.
Wow.
Appreciate that. Same.
This
Make
guy's
sure you get
class.
over and check out Chuck E. Cheese as well. Give your channel a plug there quickly.
Oh yeah, Chop.
Yeah,
cheese.
it's World Sports Culture TV, and I'll also send it in the chat, and I also put it in the StreamYard chat here.
Thank you so
Legend.
much. Thank you so much.
Legend.
This guy's top.
Have a great
Yeah.
day, guys. Be well,
Same to you, sir. Have a good one, my man.
my man.
Enjoy yourself at the weekend. Going to an Irish pub. Jeez, you know, wouldn't mind a bit of that.
Just the idea of just being able to enjoy some drinks, listen to us in the background. It's kind of like, dang, can we do that? Can I just have Dave do the watch along and then I get to go join Chop Cheese and have that happen? That'd be great, actually. It
Bit of
sounds like-
bacon and cabbage while you're watching the game. You know, not
we
a
were
bad
talking
way
about corned
to
beef the other
watch
day.
game.
I'm like, come on, that sounds nice. Please, everybody, I'm putting it in here. Please
Becoming very
subscribe to
popular
Chop
in the
Cheese
comments.
channel.
Stuff he is.
Yeah, we're going to take some of the comments on that in just a sec. Please, everybody, subscribe to his channel. Putting it in here one more time for you guys. Class act, class Colin, great energy as well. Curly Norman said, my fellow New Yorker, Chop Cheese, big up, Curly. Lots of New Yorkers listening. I know Lazy 8 too. Eltel Cockerell, come on, people, let's sub this channel and get these boys to 20K as soon as possible. Thank you, Jose. Very kind. J Max saying Bentancur made a massive difference when he came back last season. I also felt like maybe that got quickly forgotten. If people don't forget, people who still don't rate Bentancur, he was one of our best players immediately. Like, I don't know if we stayed up, if the timing of his coming back in the last 7 games this season, personally. Chop Cheese is buzzing right now. Yankees slap the Blue Jays. I hate the Blue Jays. Tyler saying Gallagher is starting sadly.
Yeah.
Probably. Dropkick your teacher. Dave, you're going to change your tune when Robertson costs us.
Yeah, look, I do worry about his defending at the back post. Don't get me wrong, but I was starting to get frustrated with Destiny Udogie not being able to complete 5-yard passes or put a cross in the box, or when he's in good positions running forward. Not doing anything with it. He's a good ball carrier, but if there's no end product off the back of it, I'd rather sit there and watch Robertson. Let's not forget Robertson has won everything there is, at club football to win a good career at Liverpool. So I don't understand why there's so much, hate or negativity towards him, artists.
Please, everybody, subscribe over to World Sports Culture TV. Show them some love. Want to see those subs bump up. J Mac saying 5 bona fide starters that walk into most teams in the windows of 4 or 5. Wow. J Mac was clearly agreeing with Chop Cheese more than he was agreeing with us. Big up, J Mac.
I'm just so haunted by the front line, J-Mac, until I see someone different or a couple of players that can actually excite me and get me off my seat, then I will change my tune for sure. But you understand, J-Mac, you understand.
Yeah, he's been here forever. I love J-Mac. I just love that immediately. He just was absolutely siding with Chop Cheese and just come on, guys. Rowan saying tell, you would get tell on the back. I am considering a cheeky tell. Rowan. I've been really excited by him. I'm becoming a real big fan of his. I have a huge soft spot for him right now. Andrew Burnett saying, hey, let's effing go, boys. Andrew also been very, very kind to us. Big up to you, Andrew. We still have some more guys to get through here tonight. People have been waiting very patiently as well.
Yeah.
Everyone has been a class act so far. I've been putting in some great energy, some great predictions. And we're going to go on to someone who we always know, Spice, is going to throw something crazy out there. We're going on to Ryan. Then we have Jerome. I think Tyler could be in the queue somewhere. And then I know Paul, if he's still waiting. Paul, hopefully we get to have him back.
I think
if he's
Paul
still
will jump in
listening.
after 9.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll probably be able to have him around that time.
Yeah.
But let's go now to Ryan.
Good evening, sir.
Right,
Long time no see. Long time no see. How have you been?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad.
Prediction time, Ryan. You ready for this weekend? You excited for Spurs coming back? We're back.
You know I'm not going to say that, Jack.
He hasn't. He's
Come
been
on,
sitting there
mate.
depressed all fan show. I was meant to say to him about 10 minutes ago to smile and liven up. What's wrong with you right now?
No,
Come on, Ryan.
I'm just baffled, man. Like how some of these, like some of the fans can think that it's like Archie Gray's going to do bits for us and how he's captain and all that, man. He's not captain material. He needs to go.
I don't think anyone said that today on the stream, though, Ryan, to be fair.
No, I'm here. No, not on stream here, but I'm hearing other fans saying like Archie Gray's going to be the next coming of whoever, man. He's not anything near good enough. He's absolute rubbish.
Well, he's no Conor Gallagher, which is your favorite player. You excited
Exactly.
to see him returning? Come on, that's got to get you excited. Conor Gallagher's playing this weekend.
Look, I'm happy to see Conor playing, but it's not even that, right? What it is when you look at the front line, it doesn't even give me any optimism.
Mm. Well, look, I think there's a lot of fans that are sort of feeling like that, you know, a bit let down to a certain degree so far. But would you argue that Matisse Tel has shown signs of improvement, is maybe ready to contribute more than what he did last year?
Don't like Tel. I don't like him. He's shown me nothing, and I'm not going to give any time and energy towards it because he's given me nothing until he starts showing me that he can put the ball in the back of the net literally every other game. Then I
actually think you're being a bit harsh though there, Ryan, because to be fair, he's put in a lot of crosses this preseason and they've been really good crosses that other people haven't got on the end of, you know, that should have. So, you know, I do think you're being a bit harsh there. But if we are talking about forward line and contributing, Gallagher's been playing in number 10. Cam's job is to sort of provide assist and put chances on the plate. I remember him doing it once all preseason, one forward pass all preseason. Surely your boy has to take a bit of the responsibility too.
Look, right, at the moment it's pre-season. It's pre-season for a reason, Dave, yeah, right? And the reason why it's pre-season is to get the time into their legs, mate. That's what it's about. It's about getting the time into their legs and building their fitness up. We won't know anything definitively until the beginning of the season. And that starts in, 5 days?
Well, he had 6 months. We had the January to summer last season. Didn't really contribute a whole lot in terms of goals or assists or attacking output. But, you know, I disagree. I think in preseason, I think there is something you can sort of read out of it, especially towards the end of it. And I just don't think Gallagher is good enough, anywhere near good enough in possession at all.
Just some quick breaking news here. Performance director Dan Lewandon conducted an investigation into the club's injury record and has instigated important changes, including an increased focus on individualized player care. The squad will split into groups of 4 to 6 players who will have their own physio and sports scientists. The theory is that the staff will be able to dedicate more time to each player and understand them better. Yeah. This should help medical and performance staff to make informed decisions and recommend small but insignificant or significant tweaks to a player's training schedule based on their injury history and requirements of their position. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was speaking about earlier. It's gone sort of NFL style where, you know, NFL sort of individualized for each position and stuff. So it'd be
cohorts.
Yeah, look, it'd be interesting. It's something, like I said, Man City do. And, you know, with Dan Lewington, we got him from City and he's bringing it across, you know. So you're hoping it works out. You know, so far, whatever we've tried hasn't worked out. Do you think that could work, Rhino?
Look, right, I'm down to give anything a go, right, at this point when it comes on the injury front. I really couldn't care. I'd have on the day like it's been today, yeah, right, raining and still seeing pigs flying across the sky. I would take that. That's how bad it is, Dave. I will take anything when it comes down to that. I will try. I'd even literally try and dig my mum up just to try something new. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
look, a fresh approach needed to happen, and I suppose the proof will be in the pudding as the season goes on. If we incur significant less amount of injuries and all that sort of stuff, where do you think we're going to finish? What's the expectation? We spent 237 million, Rhino. We've given De Zerbi more or less full control. What's your expectation for us this season? Where are we finishing?
Look, I'm going to be realistic on the expectations here, Dave, because when you look at it, we've still not sorted out that front line, and until we're having people holding that shirt up, I'm just going to not take anything as gospel, because everything that everyone like says, oh yeah, Savinho's all good. He's anyway, going on about Savinho, I was gonna go. Let me go on about this first, and then I'll go on about Savinho.
Work away, lad.
And obviously, like until he's holding that shirt up, right? It's just like it's ridiculous. I can't trust anything that anyone says until he's holding that shirt up. I've got to have.
Yeah.
I've done that for far too many years, Dave. Right in the past.
Yeah.
And my stance over the last couple of years has been, don't believe it until that shirt's being held up.
Yeah, no, look, that's fair. I'm of the same. Look, I could be streaming 24 hours a day with all the transfer rumors that come out from morning to night. You know, only really at the end of it, 1% of them really come true. So I'm sort of the same with you. You know, when we get to here we go and they're on the way, then, you know, as you can see through our content, that's when me and Jack will sort of acknowledge it and start talking about it. But like,
because
there is a market out there.
Dave,
People do love the transfer window right now, so you can't knock that.
No, and I get that. And I get that, right? But when it comes down to it, Dave, right, we've been mugged off by a load of clubs in the past, right, where they had the medical and then still been snatched away from us. So that's when it's started to make me realise, until you're holding that shirt up, I ain't believing anything that anyone says.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, you know, I'm the same. Like, we could sit here and talk about Savinho and Gakpo, but, you know, the real discussions start when they're in the door, to be fair. But, you know, educated guess, Rhino, you play Football Manager, you play FIFA, you watch a lot of football. Well, bar our Europa League win and stuff like that. But, you know.
Oh, no, I watched the final, Dave. Don't you keep
you've watched
that.
it now in the end. You watched it in the end, did you?
Yeah, I watched it live.
Oh, did you? Fair play. Well, you didn't watch any other game.
Oh, you said you wouldn't watch it. We'll have to check the tape on that.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I did watch it live.
All right.
How do you think young Mikey Moore is going to get on? Obviously, we don't know if he's going to be kept around, but it's looking like he'd be kept around for the first game of the season anyway. He might even get an opportunity. What do you typically think? How do you think he's got on this preseason?
Look,
Who do you think looks better, him or William Barnett?
Look, I think, yeah, right, Paul's going to disagree with me on this, because me and Paul had this discussion last window before he came up here, right? And I said to Paul, he needs to be given a chance, and I'm glad he's getting a chance, potentially to play against Brentford. But do I want to keep him around? Of course I do. I like the kid, right? He's what, 18, 19, something like that. He can't be much older than that, right?
18.
And to be honest, it's just like, to give him a chance, man. Someone's got to give him a chance in this first team. I'm not saying when Kudus gets back, I'm not saying he starts over Kudus. No way do I say that. But and if Savinho comes in, like I was going to say about Savinho, right? With Savinho, when he was at Man City, right? Everyone was sitting back, right, Dave? So he wasn't able to produce what he was producing at Girona, when he was at Man City, because there was no space behind Man City. They never keep much space behind them.
Yeah, but you don't think it's going to be the same?
What am I talking about? Other teams don't usually keep
no, but
space
Rhino,
behind them.
I do understand what you're saying about sitting back, but you know, at the top level, that's what players are expected to come up against, and Spurs are going to come up against that this year under De Zerbi. We're going to control
No,
possession. Teams are naturally going to sit back, so he's going to be
You force teams to
put into
sit back.
the same situation.
No, I get that, Dave, right? I get that, right? But people don't hold. Not every club sits back against Tottenham than they do against Man City. Do you know what I mean? Everyone sits back against Man City. Not everyone does that against us. So where he was last year, right, when he was playing, I get it. People say that he wasn't playing a lot last year, and I get that. But the games he was playing in, right, they was all sitting back. With us, they don't do that. You don't see like an Arsenal sitting back towards us. You don't see a Man United sitting back behind us. You don't see someone like even, I don't know, a Newcastle sitting back behind the ball against us, right? And that's where the difference is. And it's the same with Liverpool as well. They all do the same with against Liverpool. Against everyone does it. So this is why it's not fair to be bashing the kid over the head with a stick when all that happens is that everyone sits behind both Liverpool and sits back behind Liverpool and
I think it's a bit hard saying people are bashing over the head with a stick. I think people are raising concerns, which I think are legitimate. I think, you know, you can see. I do take your point, you know, that a lot of teams do sit back against City, but the way we're going to play this year, we're going to force teams into doing the same against us this year with the way we're playing under De Zerbi and stuff like that. So he's going to come up with against the same thing. So I'm not going to give him a free pass or an excuse in that regard. As an attacking player, as an attacking player, you expect to be doubled up on if you're a good player, and it's up to you to find the craft and the quality to be able to deal with that and punish them. You know, if not, then you're just not good enough.
No, but then I think. You know, I don't like this conversation when it comes down to what I think, right? But I will say this, right? Because you know me, I don't talk about De Zerbi a lot. In some people's eyes, I don't talk about De Zerbi enough.
That's because you're a good butthurt over Frank, but
no, it's just because I don't have an opinion. But when it comes to this, it's like anywhere where De Zerbi's been in the past, right? Though, Dave, he's always got players better. He's always made players better. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's not an opinion. That's a fact. There's a difference between having an opinion and having a fact. He's always made players better. Look at Brighton. He made all them players better.
Yeah. I do believe in the De Zerbi factor. I do. He does make players better. He's a very good man manager, and also his tactics and his system. You know, it gets the best out of players because it's in possession based and it's attacking based and stuff like that. So it does bring the best out of technical players for sure. I'd agree with that. Even listening to Sandro, you know, at the tail end of his career, usually, you know, you've been there, you've done it, you've seen every sort of way of playing the game and stuff. And even he said he was learning new stuff under De Zerbi. You listen to what Guardiola had to say about him. Reckons he's, you know, he is and will be one of the most influential managers over the next 10, 15 years of the game and stuff. You know, the guy comes with a lot of high praise, and every club he's been at, he's done a very, very good job. He's made them better. So yeah, I'd agree with that. That's you know, that's why I think Spurs are going to do all right this year. I believe with De Zerbi.
I didn't just have an opinion. I was just stating a fact there, Dave. Do you know what I mean? And where Jane says that it was an opinion, it wasn't an opinion. It was an absolute fact. Do you know what I mean? Because it's out there to see. It's not an opinion.
Lay down more facts. I'm all here for it. Facts us out, lad. What else have we got?
Well, that's the only fact I've got on De Zerbi.
One a week with Ryan.
Well,
one fact.
Ryan, before we let you go, any bold predictions? I expect a bold prediction from you. Come on.
Do you know what? I would say there's bold predictions, but I'm not going to give none. But what I will say is, right, I think if we win the FA Cup and if we win the Carabao Cup, then I think that'll be a good season. And then finishing,
Oh, drum roll.
Maybe eighth. I'll be happy with.
Okay, so a trophy, a little cheeky domestic trophy, and then an 8th place finish.
Cheeky Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you take an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup? Which one?
No, both. If we get both and we finish 8th, then
Good season.
Jeez, you come a long
it'll be
way.
a good season.
It's a
Say
great
that again,
season.
Dave?
De Zerbi must be a miracle worker if he's managed to get you to have an opinion on the guy and be optimistic.
That's not an opinion. It's just obvious.
Facts.
Whatever-
Sorry, facts. Yeah, my
Yeah,
bad.
those are facts.
It's a
yeah.
fact.
How dare I need to go and educate myself right now.
Well,
I
Ryan,
think you forget about what our class is an opinion and what our class is a fact.
I do.
You
I
know,
do. Now that you're back around
But-
for the new season, I'll go and educate myself in Ryanisms.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
because I think you might need to. But just one more thing though, Dave, right before I go.
Go
Like
on.
with someone like Conor Gallagher this year, yeah, right? With what I said with his assists, he's gonna get better. And the player that I think is gonna be the underperforming player of the season, and will be Archie Gray, just because he's not good enough.
Fair.
And if you
All
want a bold fact, Archie Gray needs to go in January. There's a bold fact.
No, that's
bold
an
That's
opinion.
not a fact.
That's an opinion.
That's not a
That
fact.
really is an
A
opinion.
bold
That's an opinion.
sorry.
Look, we don't want to trigger Dermo. Dermo's a big protector of Archie. Dermo's took it on himself to be the Archie Gray protector this year. So, I'll have to relay your opinion to Dermo and see what he says. But Rhino, it's been fun as always, my man. And we'll speak to you again soon. Enjoy
Great
your
job,
week.
Ryan. Always make me
Yeah.
laugh. Great job, Ryan.
It's all right, man.
Have a
All
good.
right. See you next time, Rhino.
See ya.
See you after we smash Brentford. All right. Come on, you Spurs.
Now remember next week, Jack, it's facts, not
Don't
opinions.
keep your facts to yourself, Ryan. Spread the love. Great comments, Stevie. Oh, those class. I think what we're gonna do here, boys, is we have 3 of you guys left. I think we're gonna give you guys plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
And then Paul, I think, is probably still running a little bit late. So Paul, you just let us know in the private chat when you're ready to come
Yeah.
on. But we'll bring on Tyler and we'll bring on Jerome because I trust these guys. They're
gonna be a
regulars,
banging
they're well
combo.
behaved. So I trust them to be able to handle themselves together at the
Opinions
same
galore.
time. And just to spice things up towards the end of the show. And to anyone that's still listening, really appreciate you guys. Keep smashing the like button. Keep making yourselves known in the chat. If you are listening on X, follow us over here to YouTube. Let's bring on Jerome and Tyler. Then we'll bring on Paul. Paul, if you're listening, just let us know when you're ready in the back end. Hello, boys. Jerome, thanks for being very patient. You've been in the queue
What's up, boys?
You look
from
like
almost
father and
minute
son.
30. Yeah, father and son. Kind of in a way in terms of attitudes and passion, almost like father and son. Jerome, how you feeling about this weekend? We'll start off with that. Have you watched any of the preseason? What's your confidence levels ahead of Brentford?
Look, it's going to be an away game. It's going to be a difficult one as always, but I'm pretty confident we might get out of it with a 2-1 win. So yeah.
Is your confidence high with De Zerbi right now? Has the love carried over from last season? Have you been skeptical at all of him?
Always been there. He saved us. I trust in him. So yeah, should be good.
How do you feel about the forward line, Jerome? Because Dave and I gave the window. If it ended right now, we gave it a 5 out of 10. People thinking we're being harsh. Where do you stand on the forward line?
Look, the guys are not being harsh. It's a fact. I think Tyler's gonna agree as well. So that's a fact. That our forward line, we need better. We actually need better than that. So yeah, if you guys want to give it a 5 out of 10, I'll be the same as well because we need better than what we have in the forward line. And that's the only thing that I'm worried about is the lack of goals. We don't have a goal scorer. That's the issue. We do not have a proper goal scorer. And that's my only issue right now. So we might be, if this goes on and we don't bring anyone of quality, it might be a very frustrating season because, there's going to be a lot of goals that we're going to be missing. So, yeah.
Do you know what I liken it to? I think it'd be like under Ange Postecoglou. The idea is there. You'll dominate some games because, the first season we did for large parts of games, but we didn't kill teams off, and then we end up being caught by a silly set piece or mistake. And I just worry that, the same thing is going to happen to us, not as often as it did under Ange, because I do think De Zerbi has a much better defensive setup. But I still think there's going to be games there where you're going to walk away and go, we've left 3 points out there today. And that's where my biggest frustration comes in. Like last year, we brought in Xavi Simons. We brought in Colin Mawani. and they didn't change our fortunes. If we're not going to bring anyone else in and go again and try it this season, I just struggle to see how it's going to change. Like, De Zerbi can only improve these guys so much. You know, he can put them in the positions all he wants, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to show a bit of composure and have a set of bollocks, you know, and learn to fucking finish in the moment. So, Ty, where are you at with this front line? And I know you've had a lot to say about this front line.
Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not too much to add for what you guys just. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's a tiny bit of a delay, but I think we'll live with it. Yeah.
Okay. I was just gonna say, I mean, there's not too much to add to the forward line from what you guys have said. I mean, as of right now, I don't have too much trust into them. I was one that kind of wanted to keep Solomon because at least he's a winger that has a bit of quality, and we really only have available right now Mathis Tell, who has looked really good in preseason, and I know I've been very harsh on him in the past, but I'm starting to see, you know, he does have some ability, but we need to see it during the Premier League season, not just preseason. I know you guys saw it a bit more than I did last season. You guys believed in him a bit more, but I just want to see it in more competitive games.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
And look, I understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean? I think with me, I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Jack, but I think mine was coming from, it's like we're at bottom. Like, we're at rock bottom right now, you know, and I think, you know, he's producing a little. He's young, so I can still sort of encourage him. Whereas, like, I do agree, we need someone to step up and start producing, you know, game in, game out, where you can actually rely on them, at least go some way of trying to resolve our Kane and Son sort of problem. What do you think?
We have a Paul in the background. Paul, when I see you back on screen, you did say you're ready, but then you left the screen. So, Paul, when you're back on screen, I'll be happy to bring you in here. Sorry, Dave.
What do we think of Mikey Moore and young Luca Williams-Barnett? You know, I think there's a large split across the fan base from what I see in terms of opinions on all platforms. Should they be kept around and developed? Should they be sort of pushed out on loan? Right now, we've got no option. I think we have to keep them around for the next couple of weeks anyway. But where do you see their careers? You know, if we were to bring in a Gakpo and a Savinho, do you think one of them get kept around even? Jerome?
Look, to me, we still need to develop. William Barnett looks like he's got talent, but he's not ready yet. I don't think he's ready for the big league, yet. Probably needs to go on loan or somewhere. Mikey Moore, he looks okay. He did look okay during preseason, but it is preseason. But again, we don't have an option right now on the right hand side, so he's probably going to be kept around, but after that, I think he will need to go on loan as well. So just not ready yet. I don't think he's ready yet, but we'll see. We'll see how things goes. But for now, to me, both of them, we need time. We still need time.
Yeah, I think Tyler would probably be of the same opinion, so we'll keep it moving. What about midfield?
Well, actually, I have a bit of. I was just going to say, you know, as of right now, I mean, we obviously have to keep Mikey Moore until we bring. I think we have to bring in 2 wingers for us to ship him out. I mean, we just need the numbers. And then as it comes to Barnett, he is 17, right? So he technically can't go out on loan. So I think, you know, he'll be in and around the team training, and hopefully he can get a cup appearance or 2. And I think he can be decent. I mean, we've seen him in preseason. The way he runs with the ball, he's incredible. He's a great player, and I think he's going to be phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, we can't rely on them. If we're relying on them, I mean, it's going to be bottom half of the table if we're relying on them to do stuff at this point. But I don't think it's going to be that.
The age-old debate, right? Forget about relying on them. I think we'll all agree we can't. Just before we move it on, and we'll bring in Paul. I think he's in the back end there as well. Do we think it's more beneficial to send them out on loan, where they're playing in a different system, different league, you know, maybe not as... Or is it more beneficial for them to stick around and actually learn and nurture under De Zerbi to be the player he wants them to be, to give them a better chance getting in the team moving forward?
At the end of the day, we need game time, Dave. Especially Michael Moore. He will need game time. Yes, he can stay and develop under De Zerbi and learn things, but he needs that game time to, you know, getting used to those things. Like even play for Cologne would be good for him, like, getting used to all of those like big time games, even going to a Bundesliga and things like that. So he need that. With Barnett, but Barnett is different. Like Tyler said, he's 17, so we can't even send him on loan, but he can develop, he can play with our youth and things like that. But for me, Mikey Moore, yeah, he need that game time. Even though he can develop under Zerbi, he still need that game time.
Okay. Okay. Tyler, where?
Yeah, and in preseason, like, for me, Barnett's looked the better player overall than Mikey Moore, and he's, 3 years younger. Or how many years is it? Two, 3?
He's only a year younger.
Oh, is it only one? Oh, okay. But what we saw out of Mikey Moore at Rangers, he obviously has quality as well. But I think he has to go out on loan. I think that Bundesliga loan was going to be good for him, but we have to bring in the wingers to replace him.
Yeah.
I think he'll get, we saw Brentford scored 7 on Frankfurt. So, the Bundesliga defense isn't phenomenal. I think he'll have a lot of fun out there attacking. And I think he'll get a good amount of goals and assists, and he'll come back hopefully next season and maybe be ready to, bet in a little bit better.
Fair. That's fair. I'll take the opposite opinion. I think the talent's there. I don't think there's actually too much more you need to develop in that regard. I think at this point with the two of them, if I was advising them, I'd tell them to stick around on the De Zerbi. Because at the end of the day, for the De Zerbi to fancy you, he has to be watching you week in, week out. I think once you go out on loan, you're out of sight, out of mind. You don't get the opportunities. Proven in Will Lancashire's sort of case. Wasn't even looked at this preseason, despite our striker struggles and stuff like that. So I would argue, I think because the technical ability and the talent is there, I think they need to learn what De Zerbi's looking for, and that's just my opinion on that one. But Paul, good to see you. You're rocking the New Jersey. It's been a while. How have you been? And what do you want to talk about? Let's open up the floor. Let's kick off what you want to talk about.
I missed that headset.
In on it.
Evening, how are you? Good to be back.
Not too
Long
bad.
time no see, Paul. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, I've got this on because part of our Irish Hotspur family, Chris, he sent me this free of charge because it was too small for him apparently. So he sent it over. So big up to Chris, much appreciated.
Fair play, Chris. Fair play. And does it fit you? Yeah, fits good.
Looks like it does.
Nice.
Yeah. It's a tight fit, but yeah, a few more pieces, why not?
All jerseys are nowadays. All jerseys are tight fit. Jerseys are like leggings for women.
It's the one we'll probably be wearing this weekend, Paul, since we'll be traveling away from home.
Yeah,
to Brentford. Are you confident at all this weekend, Paul? You thinking it's going to be a win? Or are you nervous at all?
To be honest, I'm always nervous when Tottenham play. Regardless, we could be having a massive run of form and we'll just end up not turning up. We've done it so many times before in the past. And what I've liked about so far, since De Zerbi's taken over, is that the players that don't want to be here have gone, or are going or out the door. And I've said it for years. You've heard me say it. It's all, to me, the players have to take some sort of responsibility for where we finished. It can't all be on Thomas Frank, Igor Tudor, Ange Postecoglou, however many managers we've had before that. It has to be the players have got to take some sort of responsibility. As much as Jed Spence had a good World Cup, what else did he do when he was playing for us week in, week out? Which got him in the England team. Funny enough, don't know how, but it did. But yeah, and then all of a sudden we still managed to finish 17th. Same with the likes of Romero when he was in the team. He's been around here for the last 4 seasons, and 2 of those seasons we finished 17th. So as much as he might be a good individual player, maybe he's not the right team player for Tottenham. And I prefer 11 players on the pitch that want to put their heart and soul on for the badge rather than 1 or 2 superstars that don't want to be here and just looking for bigger moves or bigger and better clubs, as they call it.
Okay.
Coming in strong.
I know Tyler does share your opinion on players needed to be blamed more for last season than maybe some people were giving them, and that they were getting a bit of a free pass at times from
we say that, but
I'm just saying Tyler shares that opinion, I think, to be honest.
No, I agree with that. But when you see a wild turnaround as soon as you get in a proper manager in De Zerbi, I think a large part of it is down to Thomas Frank. At the end of the day, it's up to Thomas Frank to get these players to buy in and believe to what he's doing. When he walks in and tells them they're going to lose games, I expect them to check out. I as soon as I seen them quotes, I was on here and I said, the best players in that team are going to check out. And that's exactly what happened, because they don't want to play for a guy that doesn't want to win games. That was the biggest part of the problem last year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dave. But I'm not saying about what I'm saying is it wasn't totally his fault. Yes, the manager might have a system, but players are also on the pitch for the 90 minutes. If something isn't working, surely taking a bollocking from the manager afterwards, but producing a minute of brilliance or, doing something out
then
of
you
the
don't get
book,
played. If you're not going to do what the manager wants you in his tactics, you don't get played. He'd drop you. I assume that's probably why he dropped
but last season, we didn't have enough players for him to drop. They all kept getting injured. So at one point, they could have just said, right, well, we're not going to get dropped because we're the best that he's got. And so basically, I don't know. I'm not saying he's blameless. I'm really not, because Thomas Frank was majorly part of the blame. But the players also have to take responsibility in the sense of how they perform on the pitch week in, week out. Might have been a defensive thing, but we all have jobs. And you know what? In my job, there's absolutely things I hate about it, but I still have to do them, whether I want to or not.
Yeah.
So part of the time, sometimes it's the players, yes, right, we've got these instructions, but doesn't mean I can't do something out of the ordinary that's going to benefit the company in the long run. And that's what I didn't see from any of those players.
I agree with the likes of turning up late for training and all. There are things that shouldn't be happening, but when it comes onto the football pitch, it largely is down to the manager's tactics. If you're restricting players and their ability and what they can do, for instance, Paulinho and Bentancur, see the different Paulinho and Bentancur, they started doing things fans said they didn't have in their locker as soon as De Zerbi came in. But look, I think the big question here, guys, is do we think we're going to finish in and around that position again this season? Or with De Zerbi at the helm, with the 200 and odd million spent, are we expecting to finish in the top half of the table this year? What's the minimum expectations this year?
Top 8, top 6. That's the minimum expectation.
Even with the current forward line we have?
Even with the current forward line that we have, yeah. If we get better, I would say even higher.
What gives you this optimism, Jerome? And then we'll get Tyler. What gives you this optimism? And then I'll press Tyler the same way.
Look, at the end of the day, yes, the forward line is not very good. Right, we're not going to get as much scores as we would be thinking, like with like for example, Kane and Son and things like that. But we will still get you a goal. If you get one or two or something, our midfield is a lot more better. Our defense is more solid compared to what it was before. So I think we'll be fine. I think we should be. I'm pretty confident we will be fine. Like if we add better goal scorers, my prediction would be like in higher, right? Higher than top 6, like even top 4, right? But right now, that midfield and that defense, especially we do have like goal scorers in that midfield, and we are still waiting for Kudus to come back, Kulu to come back, Madison to get back in shape, in form, and things like that. So we do have depth coming in this team. It's not like we don't have any depth. We do have depth coming in this team. So this is why I'm feeling confident as well. And Deserbi's football. Look, it's not. It's something different, right? It is something different. So it's not something that's overcomplicated. Not something like you're gonna go and say, oh, we're going to be sit back against teams and then we're going to attack over teams and things like that. It's going to be something that we're going to say it is going to be attacking football, but we are going to be sound at the back as well. So something like that, but I'm waiting for. It's like a Poch-like thing, one-touch football, and then we destroy teams. So this is what I'm expecting, and this is why I'm saying like top 8 or top 6. Even if you don't get like goal scorers. Yeah.
Do you know what, Jerome? I am of the same opinion. I'm fairly confident that I think we'll get a top half finish this year. That's just more, I believe in De Zerbi that much. I believe you could give him 12 Richarlisons, he'll still get a top 10 finish somehow. But Tyler, I'm also not, oblivious to the problems. A lot of key players haven't had minutes over the preseason, still out injured, going to take a while to get them back, which in effect, you might beat Brentford, but when you've got some of the better teams coming up, that's where you might see the deficiencies in the front line come back to haunt us and stuff like that. So, it very easy could turn into a difficult season very, very quickly, if we don't improve the front line. But what's your bare minimum from us this year? Do you agree with Jerome that just purely, with the better back line, being a bit more solid, with the midfield being better, with us we assume going to create a lot more chances, that we should be confident of a top half finish?
For me, I fully trust De Zerbi, and I think he's a really good manager. So I mean, no matter what, obviously it's going to be a much better season than what we had last season and the season before in the league. But for me, I'm not that confident that we really upgraded the defense that much, honestly. Like
Right.
on the ball wise, in which that's going to help not concede as many chances because we're going to be so solid on the ball. But like Porro and Robertson defensively, I both don't think are that good, especially aerially. The two center backs we brought in Van Hecke and Senesi in the air aren't great. Van Hecke has looked better in the air, I think, with Netherlands as well. So that gave me a bit more confidence in the way he was playing. But defensively, I'm honestly not that confident, but I think they can easily prove me wrong. I think losing Spence as that left back option and even as a right back option as well is gonna be a bit it's a pretty big loss in my opinion. Hopefully we do bring someone in to replace him, but
Well, Archie Gray is going to be the backup right back. Do you think he's competent enough there to get by for a season?
I mean, I like Archie Gray, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, I mean, Ryan was just obliterating Archie Gray, and he's like on his knees for Conor Gallagher, an absolute awful signing. So I don't understand what's all up with that. But I like Archie, but I do think he's better in midfield. But he can be solid, as we've seen in preseason at right back. But again, is he gonna lock down the better wingers when we're playing against them? As well as Poro's going to struggle against them. I'm not too confident in him defensively like that. But as for the midfield, I think obviously massive upgrades. I think obviously losing Paulinho, he was my favorite player. That that hurts me. But Tonali and Fernandez have so much quality. Keeping Bentancur is huge. I think we have good depth, but the cam position, I'm very worried. The fullbacks, I'm worried defensively. And then the attack, I have no confidence in the attack right now. So for me, I'm thinking, depending on signings, right now I have us 10 to 12, but depending on the attacking signings, I think we could get up to like 6 and 8, somewhere around there. But I'd be happy with top 10, honestly, like from what we've dealt with. I know it's horrible to even say I'd be happy with top 10, but that's just how I feel right now. We'll see what happens. I'm very reactionary. I'm one of the most reactionary fans, as you guys know. I can change up very quickly, but
But look, I think there's a
that's just how I
difference
feel.
there's a difference between being reactionary and being able to explain your concerns, which you've done there. So I think there's a massive difference there. But I also agree with you about the composition. It is a huge concern of mine. Maddison, how long is it going to take for him to get back and really get back into sort of James Maddison form? Gallagher, for me, ain't the answer, especially in possession. So I do worry about that position as well. We all speak about Hell Richarlison and that, but they do have to be helped out by that Cam. And, it is a bit of a worrying position. Paul, do you share the same sort of thoughts as Tyler in terms of what he's highlighted, or are you with Jerome that, you think we're going to get European qualification out of this season?
To me, at this club, our minimum expectation every season should at least be Europa League or above. There should be nothing, and we should be finishing there every season regardless.
So you think Tyler's expectations are too low?
Yeah. Even though we finished 17th the last 2 seasons, we're Tottenham Hotspur. We should be in Europe. We can't be finishing 9th and 10th and having another season out of Europe. It's just not good enough for a club of Tottenham stature. And if you want to keep these players, you want to attract bigger players, you've got to be in Europe. You know, there's no two ways about it. You know, if we don't win Europe next season, what happens to Van de Ven? What happens to all these other players?
But to Tyler's point, do we have the right squad and the right tools that we need to be able to make that happen?
Well, if you looked at De Zerbi for the last 7 games, I think he only lost 1 out of the 7. And we were all looking and we're all saying we're going to lose all of these and we're going down. With the squad we had last season, without the upgrades of Tonali and Fernandes. And if you look at some of the games last season, we just sat back and didn't go at them. You know, I saw that you do many watch-alongs and they're going, just go for them, just run at them, just attack them. You know, and I think you're going to see a different squad this season. You know, it's not just going to be, we're not just going to lose 1-0, you know, at home or whichever. We've sat back too long in the game. I think you'll see a totally different Tottenham in the sense we will come out and we will go for them. We will attack them, you know, and I think De Zerbi's trying to get that confidence into the players. And I think we've seen that slightly with Tell in pre-season, you know, where he's told him, look, just go out there and get it forward. Because if you don't, how are you scoring? You're not going to score goals if you can't get it in the box. And that was half our problem last season. You know, we just tippy-tapped it around, then we just got caught in possession and they'd leg it down the field. And before we knew it, we're 2-0 down. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to see that this season. And, yeah, for me, top 6 as a minimum. And to be honest, I'd prefer if we only got Europa League rather than Champions League next season, because the Europa League would then give us a chance of winning another trophy, which keeps that winning mentality in the squad, and then attack the Champions League the season after. And for me, and a domestic cup this season, maybe Carabao Cup, I'll take any of them. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, I'll take either or. With a top 6 finish in the Europa League, win that again next season, and then hit the Champions League.
I think that's the goal.
Although
and we forget, I want a trophy as well this season. I want one. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, one of those, because one game a week doesn't mean we can't go for the cup. We should be able to go and push for the cup. I want a cup this season as well. Come on.
For sure. Tyler, I think you want to come in as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we say obviously we would have a better chance of winning the Europa League, but I mean, if we do somehow get Champions League football, I'm gonna be ecstatic, because even under Frank, and I mean, we were fine. We were fine in the Champions League. We nearly beat Atletico. If it wasn't for obviously Kinski, I really like Kinski, but obviously those mistakes and the decision by I don't even remember the manager's name anymore. He pissed me off so much. Tudor. But yeah, I mean, if we get back in the Champions League, it's always a possibility. I mean, the English teams are really playing well in Europe, and I mean, we could have won. We could have beat Atletico under Frank, so I mean, I'm fine with that.
No, I think that's a fair point. Look, I just want I'll take any. To be brutally honest, I just like having European games to look forward to during the week.
Yeah.
Q7 member for 23 months says, on the talk of a defense, a request to Romero fans. I'm already going to be guilty of this, I know. Please don't compare every little Jan-Paul Van Hecke mistake to Romero. We conceded 100 plus goals in the last 2 seasons. Fair point. But what I would say is, I don't think either system over the last 2 seasons has really helped them out. Like, everyone bigs up Van de Ven. He was also a part of the same partnership. So I don't think it's down to the quality of the players that we've conceded that many goals. I think it's down to both systems being on the extreme either end, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
But he is the guy coming in to replace Romero. So it's going to be hard for me to refrain from comparing to Romero. But you know what? I will try my best. Sorry,
50 mil as well, with a year left on his contract at Brighton. So I mean, there's a lot of expectations coming in. He's gonna get it if he makes some mistakes. But obviously, we're gonna be patient. Obviously, we're gonna give him a good amount of time. I really did like the way he was looking with the Netherlands, his aggression, and he's just a fighter. So I'm excited for Van Hecke.
Mm-hmm.
And just a topic of Romero. Come on. Also, with this, like the 100+ goal we shipped in last season. Let's be honest. Most of the time, Romero was on the bench. He was whether injured, got red carded,
Fair point.
And most of the time he was on the bench. So let's just be fair on
That's
Romero
actually a
as well,
great
because
point, Jerome.
yeah, because people have been very unfair with him lately. It's like people has been giving him like, all kinds of really bad things. But what we tend to forget is he saved us countless time last season, came in and be the one that scored goals while our goal scorers could not do nothing. He's the one that scored. So he's been good for us. And all I'm saying is just move on from the hate with Romero and just come on, just wish him well and just move away from the hate, because it's getting ridiculous to the fact that people are just giving him stick for no reason. No reason at all.
I totally agree, Jerome.
But I do think you bring in great context, and you say one breath people will go, well, he's been at the heart of the fence that's conceded 100 plus over 2 seasons. But in the same breath, they'll go, sure, he's never available. He's always suspended or injured or stuff like that. So it's like, it is a good caveat to that, to be fair, Jerome. But 2-7, I'm going to try my best not to compare him. But, as soon as Kane left, as soon as Son left, the next guy in the door, who they get compared to. I think it's just natural in football, I suppose, is what I would say to that. Jack, what do you want to do? Any questions?
Let's maybe go around the horn on the midfield preferences going into the weekend. Jerome, what's your ideal midfield?
Look, with the midfield, it's obvious. We need Tonali. We need Fernandez. But I don't know about Gallagher and about number 10. I'm just not convinced about this guy yet, man. He looked really poor during preseason. To be honest, I even gamble with Sarr. I would put Papa Matasar into that. Papa Matasar into that
Jerome,
number 10 role.
you stole exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, because I'm sure you are like me, Tyler. I'm not convinced about Gallagher. He's not looking that good at all. But yeah, that might be my preference.
What does Sarr do, though, that you guys would prefer him over Gallagher? Let's go down that route.
Look, the kid's got an engine on him. Sarr is more forward as well. He's more forward thinking. He's got a better passing than this guy. He's got and Sarr, you all know he can score a goal. He can score. Unlike freaking Gallagher, he can score. So I would rather have Sarr in there for 45 minutes and then after that put Gallagher in, because Sarr do tire out really quickly, but he will give me like a good 45 minutes rather than just looking at Gallagher there. And yeah, that's my reason.
I mean, they are pretty similar in the fact that they both have, strong engines, good pressing. I think Gallagher does press a little bit better than Sarr maybe, but I think Sarr defensively is better. I know, and I think honestly his eye for goal and attacking wise, Sarr's a bit better as well. So I think I would put Sarr in there. But I mean, it's not that big of a difference, honestly. I think Sarr's got a little more quality, but it's not the end of the world either way, probably.
And any bold predictions from each of you? Start with you, Paul. Anything that's maybe you think you might have a niche opinion on, or maybe a niche prediction on this season?
Not really. I can obviously, all I want from Spurs this season is a steady season and not waking up to like every game day thinking who we losing to this week. I just want to see a bit of stability in the side, a bit of consistency, finish in the top 6, and hopefully get a domestic cup. Nothing too outrageous, for a club of Tottenham stature. It'd be nice to get down to Wembley for a final, but, for me, we just need to settle the squad a bit, I think, get back into playing consistent football and not losing every week, get that confidence back and start making our home ground a fortress, which it hasn't been. The minute we can do that, we seem to do all right away from home, but the minute we come home, we don't seem to do anything. So for me, sort of home form out, get stability in the squad, and the top 6 will take care of itself.
Okay.
In my eyes.
What about you, Jerome? Any surprise
bold prediction,
player?
huh?
Yeah, any bold predictions that might be on your mind? It doesn't even have to be Spurs, but
Well, look, as a bold prediction, if the plan is we get Savinho, Gakpo, and a striker, and if that striker tends, if we, by some miracle, we get somebody like an Osimhen, the bold prediction for me would be we'll be challenging Arsenal until the end.
Do you know what?
Because look, to be honest, the league this season, it's very unstable. Man City doesn't look that good, man. After we got that rinsing from Arsenal, we don't look that good. Liverpool, again, they haven't looked that great either. I watched some games during pre-season and they haven't looked that good either. So yeah, it could be this season, could be like, if we do get the players that we need, well, who knows? It could be something like we could be challenging for the league, but that's wishful thinking. That's just a bold prediction.
No, but I do think if you were to bring in someone like an Osimhen, I do think it changes fans' expectations, or sort of at least change their opinion of what's possible if you were to bring in someone like Osimhen. You're looking at a 20, 25 goal season striker. That'll put points on the board massively. Maybe one to put out there, see if anyone puts up on this one. Maybe the referees like Tottenham this year. That could be one.
yes. If the referees like Tottenham more this year, then
yeah, bold prediction. We get at least one penalty.
Yes. Dave, when did you start stand up, mate?
I didn't. I've always had a bit in me, though. I've always had a bit in me, lad.
Tyler, I don't know if we got your bold prediction. Come on, you got to put your neck out there.
I don't really have anything bold to predict. I think it's going to be
anything maybe with other teams. Like, I liked Stefan. Stefan's saying Arsenal aren't going to win it this year. That was bold.
Not sure.
To be honest.
For me, I sadly think Arsenal is going to win it, and I think they're not really going to have too much of a challenge. Sad to say, but I think City is going to drop off a little bit. Liverpool's not there yet, I don't think, and Chelsea, United, I don't know. That doesn't seem like they've upgraded too much. But I don't know. I think Xabi Alonso's a good coach, and he could. Great. I'm saying our two best rivals are gonna freaking do the best. But no, I don't know. I don't have really anything too bold to predict for us. I think it's gonna be a somewhat boring season. I think I'm hoping for at least a semifinal in one of the cups. Hopefully we can get to a final, maybe win one of the cups. But I'm hoping for top 8. So we'll see what happens.
Take some from the chat here. Daniel, hopefully we get to talk to you next week. Sad we couldn't get your predictions. He's saying Man City will not get top 4. That's my bold prediction. That's going to be a wild drop off for them. We will challenge them. We will win the league, says Artist Team. My bold prediction is Maresca gets sacked this season. Dang. I just think it is interesting with so many of these new managers at the top clubs where there's a lot of pressure. One of them surely is going to fail.
Yeah.
One of them. I don't think it's going to be De Zerbi, because I think he's clearly been given a lot of trust and faith from the board. And then also, like Jerome said, he was able to have us be undefeated in 7 games with an absolutely shit team, or I think Paul said that. So I think De Zerbi will be fine, but who knows? Maybe Iraola, fails. Maybe Maresca fails. Yeah, so one of those.
Well, I don't know how bold it
Potter
is.
did at Brighton, or when he moved to Chelsea.
Correct. Just like it'd be crazy if all of them just ended up doing well. I would find that. I mean, one of them's got to fail at the end of the day. One of them's going to finish 7th or 8th. One of them's going to finish 9th or 10th in the league, and that could mean the sacking. So just who's your pick, really? Well, boys, it's been a very, very eventful fan show. Maybe we'll just go around the horn, just if you did have any things that you wanted to get off your chest, and I think we'll wrap it up there. Tyler, any final things you want to say before we finish off the show?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I don't know how bold it is, but I think Coventry is going to stay up. So I'll say that's my bold prediction.
That disappoints me. I like seeing Lampard upset. To be honest, it's always fun to see. Paul,
I'm rooting for Haji Wright.
Yeah, they're true. Yeah, got an American there. Paul?
For me, it's something on our transfers for our forward line. Because we're trying to get them from Premier League clubs, do you think these Premier League clubs have deliberately held back these transfers until the last week of the window, so we haven't had time to integrate them, so we haven't had time, because they are our rivals at the end of the day, like with the Man City one. Like if they give us Savinho at the start of the window, he's got all pre-season to integrate with us, whereas they give him his on the last day of the window, surely then he hasn't got so much time to integrate, so kind of makes us weaker, because they all know we need attacking signings. Same with Liverpool with Gakpo. Are they holding him back deliberately as to keep us weaker for as long as possible until the end of the transfer window?
I thought about that. Someone said they're seeing how much Spurs are trying to get back into the top 6. They don't want to try to do us any favors. It seems like they are going to try to make it difficult on us because they know what's the benefit of helping Spurs out and having us revamp our whole squad. I have thought about that.
I think we are just hoping they drop the price almost.
Yeah,
I think that's what we're doing. Will it happen? I don't know. I think it looks like Liverpool might want to keep Gak, but I've seen all of a sudden all their fans switch up after one game of their last friendly. He played incredible, so I've been seeing
like us Liverpool fans. They can
that's only what we do. You know, one of our players has a good game, and all of a sudden you don't see him for 8 weeks. But then he's still, you know.
True, Paul. Paul, it's good to have you back, man. Jerome, anything you want to say? Final words?
Look, for me, final words would be like, this season, no matter what happens, I just want to see us playing football again. Because last season was just catastrophe, and I don't want to see this again. I just want us to see us play football. And that's what I want to see. I just want to enjoy the football again. Yeah. That's what I'm
with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you there, Paul. Or sorry, Jerome. Well, guys, I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been a long, eventful fan show, and hopefully catch anybody that maybe missed it tonight. Next week, see what their thoughts are on the Brentford game, and then also maybe their predictions. Would be a tad bit of cheating, but we understand you all have lives. You all have various things going on and busy evenings. But we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to very, very generous support from tons and tons of people as well. Finally, we figured out the whole Jules thing. Took us only a couple of months, but I just sometimes when YouTube does this, they just do all these random updates.
But I think
half the time I don't understand them. Even when I read it, I'm like, I still don't think I get it.
I think it just goes to show we don't give a shit about any of that stuff. We're just here to talk about the club, you know?
Yeah, but we appreciate how much you guys support us, though. Very, very generous. And we'll leave it there, though. Come on, you Spurs. Plenty of content coming out this week, so stay tuned, everybody. Have a good rest of your evenings, and we'll see you next time.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.